Let's do it. On Twitter, it's at Jay Cameron Show. If you're listening on 93.3 FM, Real Talk, appreciate you doing that. Thanks for listening. Thanks for supporting what we do here. And thanks to all of you watching on Warchant TV, the YouTube feed. Pass around, let everybody know. And we appreciate that as well. And good to be with you. Hello, everybody in the chat. How you doing? You doing all right? Tommy, what's up, baby? It's JCS Golf Week, buddy. This should be fun. Thursday we do it, and always a great time. Before you answer me how you're doing, because I already know how you're doing. You're doing well. But
it's a good work day.
But I do want to get out in front, and we had talked about last week making this the day where we do, where we do so much of our a charity build up to that moment on Thursdays. In the build up to Thursday's tournament, we have a show where folks can contribute and help out from a distance. You could be in Wyoming for all I know, and you could help out. It doesn't matter. We do the thing where we donate through YouTube, but we decided to move that to Wednesday. It just seemed like the giving show should be moved to closer to the tournament itself, and that kind of a situation. We'll build towards that, and we'll play the golf on Thursday. It'll be a lot of fun. So I appreciate it. Join us Wednesday and give freely, kids. Give freely.
I'm just wondering if you're ready to be the heavy again in the tournament. Last year, you were the guy who carried us. You hit the most good shots of anybody in the group.
I played well last year.
You did. Yes.
I don't know. I think you're dialed in right now. Your form is probably better than mine right now. I got to get back locked in. Maybe the tournament is the catalyst for the back locked in as I was last year.
I'm telling you, last year, it's not that the rest of the group wasn't good. It's just that we never needed to be good.
I felt good last year, and I don't know what it was.
That was the equivalent of bowling a 225 in a charity bowling tournament. That's what that was.
Well, I hope I find that same form again, and it'll help us. It'll be good. I want to lead local. Obviously, the big story is national. The big story is the Masters and Rory McIlroy completing the career Grand Slam and being the sixth person in the history of human beings playing the professional sport of golf to do so. But let's bring it back local to start the day. And I thought that was an important weekend for the Noles. I thought it was really, well, first of all, congratulations to both baseball and softball. But I'm starting, obviously, with baseball. It was a big deal. That was a big deal to go on the road and have your horses be your horses. They've been a good defensive baseball team all year long. We've obviously worried some, quite a bit, in fact, about the bullpen and a little bit about the starting pitching at various points. But, man, your horses were your horses over the weekend. And it started with the sweep of the doubleheader where you get a Joey Vellini and a Jamie Arnold dominating. And, look, there's 18 innings in those two games combined. Those two guys pitched 14 of the 18 innings. This was the recipe for success. We were talking about, look, they may be able to whittle away and find two or three arms that they're going to trust. There might be a Prescott here or there or a Charles here or there, somebody they can kind of zero in on that they feel, look, I can get an inning or two out of these guys. I can feel a little bit better about rolling them out there. I don't think they're going to be a gas can. I don't think we're going to walk the world with these guys. I think we'll give ourselves a chance to win. But the real formula at the end of the day, where your talent lies, where you have a distinct advantage over most of the teams you face, are your starting two, to some extent three, but really the big two in Vellini and Arnold. That is the huge advantage you have over a vast majority of the teams you'll face at any point this year. In a series, you've got those two guys. They just both have to perform well at the same time against the better teams to give yourself a real chance, to not have to fall back on a bullpen that has been suspect, to say the least. And what a sigh of relief Link Jarrett must have felt, and Micah Posey must have felt, knowing that their aces were going to go out and lead the way. And it happened. And they dominated. They really did, because the bats weren't on fire. We still saw a better approach. Again, the approaches have been better going back to the Florida game. I just, on the whole, as I used to say incessantly, I think you just have to have your aces be aces. And from there, you'll be all right because you have enough. Hey, listen, have yourself a welcome return to the lineup, Chase Williams, huh? How about that? Reminded of what that kind of dynamic speed does and how it can change games. He had the 2 stolen bases, hit better than you would expect him to after a lengthy time away from the game with injury. It's hard to get back into the swing of things, yet he goes 5 of 10. He was really, really good in terms of on base. I was very, very impressed with what he was able to do over the weekend.
Well, I mean, the number one thing I look at outside of the starters, and this is what we said on Friday, was if you could get your aces to play like aces, to pitch like aces, I think everybody will just, temper a little bit and take an exhale. But then you were looking for bullpen answers. And in 9 1/3 innings, you had 1 walk, no hit batsman from your bullpen. That's huge. I mean, Abraham was perfect through his 2 innings. Mm-hmm. Prescott was fantastic. And then Joe Charles was excellent as well. But I'm always looking at the end of the game, when we're done looking at the bullpen, how is your control? Are we getting better in that department? So you've got essentially a game's worth, or 7 1/3, 7 1/3 innings out of the bullpen, and 1 walk and no hit batsman. Like, that's the whole thing to me, is if you don't give 3 passes, you've got a fair fighting chance, even if you don't have swing and miss stuff. And Joe Charles isn't going to strike out the side back-to-back innings. John Abraham has more swing and miss stuff with his secondary pitches, and Prescott obviously can overpower you with his repertoire. But to see those guys all come in separate settings and be contagious the good way, all right, doesn't mean everything's fixed. It's just nice to know that we can stop the bleeding with some of the inconsistencies, and let's see how they approach it this week, where you have another important series, this time at home. You play USF tomorrow. And you get Thursday through Saturday series with Virginia. Okay, here's the momentum building back up. Can you reassert yourself? Because in the RPI, Boyd's World ISR ratings, you're outside of that top 16 number at present. I still think you would be a top 16 national seed if the season ended today, but this is where these weekend series in the conference give you the opportunity to bolster the resume to climb back up into that discussion. It all needed to start with the pitching, and the pitching has responded, so it's a very, very big weekend for Florida State.
We can put a ribbon on the Jalen Early career, at least here in Tallahassee, as he is set to enter the NCAA transfer portal. That's part of the bigger news in the portal world. Not a big surprise that we ended up having something happen that we were expected to have happen soon enough, and I'm referring to the quarterback situation at Tennessee. I'll get to that in a moment, but Florida State has 2 guys now set to enter the portal. No surprise, Trevor Jackson plans to enter the portal. Tom and I would like to see many more follow. I'd like to see upwards of 10 to 15 guys announce that they are leaving the program. Get them out. If you suck, you do not need to be here. If you suffer in the effort department, you do not need to be here. I'd rather lose with guys who play hard. I'd rather lose with guys who are giving it their all and understand the opportunity before them. I'm not saying Trevor did anything wrong. He's just not good enough to be here. And I'm just saying that you can weed out more. I'm ready for it. It may hurt us in the terms of depth to some extent. But given what I was told last week about practice, Tom, I'm not surprised to hear that Jalen Early has put his name into the portal, or will on Wednesday.
Is that right? Okay.
Yeah. Not a surprise there. Sources said that he was having a tough go, being just a bit of a problem. So we're moving on. You don't have time. We've discussed this before.
Yes.
If I get a hint of tomfoolery, you're out. Because if I'm Mike, fooled around and let some things slide, to put it mildly. And what did it do? We all know. It came back to bite you in the ass. And if you're truly going to revamp and turn this roster over and get the kind of effort that he is begging these kids to play with, the edge, as he calls it, and he did say they rose to the occasion after pleading for the kind of intensity on a day-to-day basis that he thinks is necessary to get this turned around. He got it in the red zone drills, and you guessed right that that's what they were going to do, and they got after it, and that is huge. But that's just part of it. Like, that should be the norm. We shouldn't celebrate these days where all of a sudden they were really physical and they played with effort. Good. It's kind of the way the game's played. Should be that way all the time. It's really hard. It's not for everybody. But there's, that should be the norm. And then weeding people out who are unwilling to go along for the ride and to play that way, that's got to be part of the norm too. Get them out. Let's go. I hope I hear 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 more names. Let's go.
And so
you got to go.
The language on all of that will be intends to enter the portal for the next couple of days because the portal officially opens on Wednesday. So that's just to the letter of the law about how it's reported. Right now, it's about intent to enter, and the window is open. I forget, is it 10 days? It's a week, whatever it is, but it starts next Wednesday. And it is said to be another interesting portal window because the house settlement is not done yet. And so therefore you can mess with the numbers, fudge the numbers a little bit, overpay, if you will, under the non-$20.5 million salary cap. It hasn't kicked in yet. So the market is going to be unstable and pretty aggressive in terms of expenses. If you're trying to bring somebody in, it's going to cost you more because there isn't a 20.5 number to work off of yet. So from the national perspective, it's going to be interesting over the next 2 weeks. From Florida State's perspective, now the first couple dominoes have dropped. Maybe there'll be some more reporting about kids who intend to enter the portal this week.
Well, and I mean, it could be what it is, right? I mean, in some cases, it's not that a kid wasn't working hard or wasn't trying his best, and they're just not good enough, and that's a mis-eval, but these things happen, and it's frustrating. It looks poorly. I mean, that's not a good look for Alex Adkins there, and he's long gone. That Early is out of here as well. There's been a lot of bad looks for a lot of coaches. You can't go back and change that. If you missed, you missed. But you can move forward and rid yourself of guys that are not going to be additive and guys that aren't willing to sacrifice and reach that level of intensity that you've implored them to play with. And I think that has been the overriding theme, the through line of spring football has been that Mike clearly understands that it got soft and he let some things slide and he can't afford to do it. I mean, that to me is this whole spring because the rest is install. So whatever. I mean, they're coming along with install. They're figuring it out. Got it. The rest of this is all a bit about finding out who wants to play and who doesn't and getting these guys out of here.
Yeah, and I think that's what late last week was about. Both of those pressers, it seems as though he got the answers he was looking for and he's relieved. Because it sounds like he was not getting the answers he was looking for about consistency, care, respect was the word he used. That I mean, we talked about that. That's a red flag and a half.
Well, it was alarming.
You got to ask kids about respecting the program. Like, what? So it looks like he got the response he was looking for. They've got another week to hit it, though. And just because you do it once or twice doesn't mean that you're fixed. So we'll be interested to hear what he has to say this week. They've got 3 more practices to go.
Yeah, they'll round out this week, and I got to imagine that he's feeling better than he did at the start of spring football. Not because there's something that portends of a lot of wins. I don't think that he's been able to glean anything from this spring that says, oh, we're going to win a lot more games. I mean, more than 2, sure. But I don't think this has been about that. I think this is really about a wellness check, about getting it back to a place that really should be the bare minimum of what you ask, right? And part of going back and kind of having a referendum on the job done a year ago had to have been, obviously, we stated this, looking in the mirror at what you did wrong, looking at the program as a whole to assess the areas of weakness and strength and everything in between. But then really coming to the realization that you could not have gone 2-10 with that roster. What a great roster, but it wasn't a 2-10 roster. You could not have gone 2-10 with that roster without myriad issues. That it wasn't just the physical tools or the lack thereof. It wasn't just a game planning problem or a lack of execution at quarterback or specifically to the offensive line or the lack of special at wide receiver. It wasn't just those things, although those were all problems. There was something else that had to have been pervasive for them not to respond to you when things took a turn south early in the season when you began 0-2. It's as if they just decided, well, grand opening, grand closing. We didn't really see a whole bunch of fight. And there were pockets, there were windows, and they caught a few breaks here and there in the cow win, but really nothing that showed the requisite intensity and fight that you would expect to see in a program of this stature. So that assessment clearly happened because he came into this spring with messaging for the press and for his players. And he's not been satisfied yet, for the most part, when talking to the press after practice. I view that as a good thing. I mean, I view all of this as a very good thing. you got to acknowledge the problem. You got to acknowledge the issues. You got to address these things head on. There's no way you're going to wave a magic wand after 2-10 and you fire coordinators, etc., and just expect that, oh, well, spring starts, we're good, we're back to where we were a couple years ago. No, man, you have to do more. You got to weed it out at its core. And I think that's what this spring has really been about. Who's tough, who's willing to endure, who's willing to compete, who's willing to hit, who's willing to have their mind checked to get back in this thing and setting that standard where it should have always been.
Yeah, it all started with his description of the kids they brought in from the portal. Remember that? And he said they were looking for players who bring elite effort. That was the moment to me where post-season, after it was over, because in the middle of the season, there was a red flag comment that I didn't circle enough, and we talked about it, where he said, I asked these guys, what are you doing to live up to the standard on your own time?
Yeah, it was less than ideal.
That's yikes. But the best one was, well, I mean, we circled kids in the portal that brought elite effort. Oh, dear God. So maybe it's taking hold that a lot of these portal ads are having a good influence and impact, but it's on the coordinators too. And this is, to your point last week, you're getting brutal assessments from the new coaches. They don't have time. And they don't have allegiances to the kids that were already on the roster.
No.
So you're going to get brutal assessments that is going to help very much in this process of cutting clean what you need to cut clean.
Without question. To me, man, at the end of the day, anybody that after that very first week, Tom, anybody that did not show up with the requisite intensity, focus, and consistency and effort, they would have been targets for me as a coach to move on. Very quickly. I thought like he gave them a little runway. He gave them a runway because he knew that it was a shift from the messaging a year ago. You'd like to assume that everybody plays hard and tries hard, especially in big-time college football. But they weren't getting that a year ago. And so he kind of warned everybody that first week, like, this is going to be a different spring. It's going to be a different way of assessing where you're at. That's why he sounded so down in the dumps early, because he realized it, for some kids, it wasn't connecting. It wasn't working. They weren't getting the message. They weren't hearing the message. They weren't understanding what was being asked of them. And so, look, man, again, I think that at the end of the day, that was a warning shot. I think he followed it up with a second one, if I'm thinking about the timeline properly, where he kind of, look, you're going to get an opportunity, but
yes. Some guys aren't taking advantage. And he paused for a long, second or two. You go, ooh, okay. And, well, the other thing was he was ornery because he rightfully was being asked about how soft his football team is in so many words. Is it going to be more physical this camp? What do you think about the nature of practice? Is there going to be an emphasis on physicality in practice? Will there be more hitting and tackling to the ground in practice? I mean, he was so over that. But it's because he had to live it on the other side. He's trying to evoke it from his players. Meanwhile, he's being asked questions over the first couple of weeks of spring camp of, are you guys going to stop being soft? Like, are you going to be? Yeah,
I'm sure he loved that line of questioning.
He did not.
Hey, coach, your team's soft. Teams are usually a reflection of the coach.
Well,
what do you think about them apples? That is a normal thing that's what he would infer. That's why he was pissed.
Yeah, the second part about going personal, I don't know, but yes.
No. I'm saying that is what people perceive your program to be. And by extension, that's what you get labeled as, because teams and coaches say this all the time, are a reflection of their coach. You're either coaching it or allowing it. So my man,
I'll tell you, one of the better reports I got from people who got to watch a little bit of practice, not the scrimmage, was that there was tackling to the ground in at least some practices. That's different. Oop, my mic? No, that was my headset. This headset. But that's different. That's a deviation from where they've been in the past, where it's just been thud, not to the ground. So there was a higher emphasis on it, not just in scrimmages, not just in rhetoric, not just in militant leading of drills. To the ground they went. Good. More of it, please.
Yeah, it's good news. I just think this is all good news. I want to stay on the theme of college football for a second here while we're on it, because this Nico situation at Tennessee, could come not as a surprise to anybody following college football. This is always where this was headed, but it is fascinating, and it does impact the sport, and it's something to take a look at. Hint: Florida State will not be going after Nico. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Do you own a small business? Let me guess. You started your business so you could get bogged down with payroll and bookkeeping, office tasks, and other paperwork, right? Probably not. I'm Craig Collins with Collins Income Tax Solutions. Allow me to help you get out from behind your desk and get back to doing what you love. For any of your payroll, bookkeeping, or other business services, give me a call today and allow me to take it off your plate. You can find my contact information online at collinsincometaxsolutionsllc.com.
Now that the brutal North Florida and South Georgia winter is over, okay, we had a couple of cold snaps, but still, now is the best time to give your AC system a good cleaning. Dust can build up in your AC system, leading to higher utility bills and poor air quality. That's when it's E&B to the rescue. Our 21-point inspection and tune-up costs only $99 and gets things working their very best. So before the summer hits, get your AC spick and span. Call E&B Heating and Air Conditioning today.
Roofing and construction services. Construction.com. We conquer all peaks. We fix those darn leaks. Call 850-766-134. G-Spark Enterprises. Roofing and construction services. G-Spark. G-Spark.com.
CCC 133-1204.
Hey, let me tell you about my friends at Tried and True Consulting, a Seminole-owned business that specializes in payments and business solutions. Tried and True's core expertise includes card, ACH, point of sale, mobile, e-commerce, and hosted payment solutions. Tried and True will help you reduce costs and increase your bottom line. That always sounds nice. Whether you're a retailer, restaurant, licensed professional, or service industry, Tried and True is saving you money. Tried and True's expertise extends to payroll, video menu ad boards, IT services, web design, and social media. It's time to make one call and tell the competition to take it on down the road. Call Don or Joe today at 844-464-6653. That's 844-464-6653. When you do business with Tried and True, they contribute 10% of the net revenue to the battle's end. So go Tried and True today. Call 844-464-6653.
This announcement is brought to you by Fonville Lewis Messer McConaughey.
If you're driving right now, you should know there's an 80% chance that the cars all around you don't carry any bodily injury insurance. Most people don't realize it, but in Florida, all the law requires is that drivers carry property damage insurance. This means that the texting teen drifting over into your lane or the drag racer on your rear bumper have no way of compensating you or your loved ones when they cause a crash. And this should scare the hell out of you. Fortunately, there's an easy way to protect your family from this, and it's called uninsured motorist coverage. It's an absolute must, but a lot of insurance companies are convincing folks to drop it just to save a few dollars. Take it from the personal injury experts. Don't. At Fonville Lewis Messer McConaughey, we've recovered millions of dollars in uninsured motorist coverage in crashes where our clients would have otherwise received nothing. So please, call your agent right now and make sure you have uninsured motorist coverage on your policy. We hope you'll never need it, but we'll be here for you if you ever do. Fonville Lewis Messer McConaughey. Don't settle for less.
Science-backed, technology-tracked, and coach-led. Hey, Jeff Cameron here. You've heard me rave about the benefits of Orange Theory Fitness and the proven track record of science-backed interval training. Well, now Orange Theory Fitness has done it again, adding more ways for you to improve your health and look your best. In addition to the always great standard workouts, OTF has added Tread 50 and Strength 50 for those in the mood to just lift for an afternoon or attack those cardio goals for the day. Take the guesswork out of exercise. Make sure you're getting the most out of each and every workout. Orange Theory Fitness, location Midtown Tallahassee and Village Square Boulevard.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Good Monday. Glad you're here. Let's continue on the football train here for a second. I made mention of the story coming out of Knoxville. To listen to the people that cover the Tennessee football program, two of which I checked in on yesterday and today, they are not necessarily surprised. It sounds like there was some scuttlebutt, if you will, late in the week, at the end of the week, Thursday-ish, where there was thoughts that his people and his handlers, by all accounts, including that of his father, are a mess. Basically went to Tennessee and was saying something to the extent of, we'd like to go from the $2.2 million he's making now to somewhere in the neighborhood of 3 point whatever. The original rumor was 3.3. Later, it came out that somebody said the demand was for 4. Either way, whether it was 3 or 4, Tennessee, no, we're not doing it. First of all, he's fairly pedestrian. Go look at his numbers against top 25 teams. Just weed out the games that are not top 25 games. If I'm gonna pay you $2 to $3 to $4 million, we got to play well against the good teams. That's what I'm gonna need to see.
We should be playing in Atlanta.
We should be
at the end of November, early December. That's where we should be.
Yeah, and if Florida's coach hadn't shown cowardice against Tennessee and Knoxville, they would have won that game too. So that would have been another game in which he didn't perform well and against a slightly above average football team in Florida. So I think they were not inclined, obviously, to reach that number. But you could argue this is the slow-moving paradigm shift of college football taking yet another lurch forward, and it felt inevitable. There are, as many people have pointed out and we've talked about, and I think most fans are frustrated by, there are no rules governing player movement for the most part. Now, I'd say there are exceptions. For example, Nico cannot now go play at an SEC school this next year without sitting out. He would have to sit out the year because he's utilizing the spring portal window. Had he done it in the fall, he could go to within the SEC. But that's an SEC rule. Not every conference has that. But because he's a spring transfer, Maliba, is that how he says his last name? I think it's Maliaba. Yeah. His people trying to negotiate a deal, allegedly, by the way, during the playoff at one point. So why do I bring that up? Well, the whispers of that before they got their head kicked in by Ohio State seemed to ruffle feathers. Certainly Josh Heupel, less than pleased at the time. Feels a little bit like you're being held hostage when that happens before a playoff game. So the wiggle room, not good in that moment. That like, hey, man, that wasn't cool. That's not what we do here. So the second this, cropped up, they're like, have a good one. We've seen what this is. We know what you're doing. Have a good day. What I was surprised to read today, you know who called it in? Did you see that?
Called what in? I'm sorry.
The fact that Nico was
numbers.
That Nico was searching, was looking around, was shopping his wares.
No.
Dan Lanning. Dan Lanning was reached out to, allegedly. This is now 3 different places I've seen this.
No wonder you know this, because he's your hero.
That's my guy. Anyhow, Dan Lanning was allegedly reached out to by Nico's people about possibly going to Oregon, and he was like, we're good. We're good. But apparently he is friends with Heupel for some reason and called him and was like, hey, man, did you know your boy's shopping himself out there? Well, that's going to happen. Like, this is going to be the norm. Like, if there are certain relationships and, the guy's going to say, hey, not for nothing.
Oh, I'm sure that's happened. I mean, that happens at all levels of business, too. I mean, even in a coaching search. You wonder if maybe A&M gave a call over to Florida State. They're like, hey, or not A&M, but a third party says, hey, just so you know, the A&M president had a couple too many pops over the weekend. He told me that they're looking at your guy, Jimbo. I know it's only October, and you guys just lost to Alabama, and DeAndre's hurt, but just so you know.
Just so you know, it's out there.
It's out there.
Yeah, it's out there.
Someone's done going Jimbo.
So what I'll be fascinated by, there's a rumor, speaking of delving into rumors, there was an immediate rumor that UCLA would be his destination, that's where he would end up. The more you go down the road of reading about certain football programs, I know we concern ourselves, obviously, with what Florida State's doing. That's what we care about. And we understand that we're not in the same ballpark from a payroll standpoint as certain programs. We're also not out in the weeds with, teams that don't have any money. Florida State's collective, the Battle's in, amongst others, have poured money into that program in the last few years in this modern era of college football. They've been somewhere between top 12 to 20 in terms of expense on roster the last couple of years. So they've been in the ballpark with what you would need to spend to field a good football team and some quality depth. They've missed on some evals, but they've been there with the money anyhow. Again, are there schools that spend more? Yes. But is Florida State destitute? No. So what I find fascinating is when you read about, UCLA has always intrigued me. I've never understood why they're not any good. They're never any good, ever. And if you've been to that campus, and I have, and you see where they are, you don't understand, like, how can you not get kids to come here? I mean, it's LA. What are we doing? Apparently they're broke. Their football program's broke. Well, good luck, buddy. You're in the Big Ten.
With a Big Ten paycheck, they're broke.
Well, they're just joined the Big Ten and haven't had a lot of Big Ten paychecks yet. And so, but no, they've spent all of their money on basketball. And that was the other big story. Well, I mean, that's what they hang their hat on. But that's the other big story over the weekend is I was reading that basically there are up to 8 schools that have spent over $10 million on their basketball roster. One of them is Creighton.
Okay. Never mind. I was about to say blanket statement. That's dumb. Well, for Creighton, yes.
Well, that's what's starting to happen with the schools that don't have football programs. They're going to just go all in on their basketball programs. But that's what you're up against now. Like, good luck, man. They're not going to spend $10 million on the basketball roster here.
No, I want to be a Blue Jay. I've always wanted to be a Blue Jay.
Circling back to when this all got started, you saw Pete Nakos reported this last week. That was the first inkling that this might be something that happens or could be in the works there at Tennessee. And all of the people that are in the camp with Nico besmirched Nakos immediately. It turns out Nakos was spot on with what he was saying about what happened. And, that happens. It's another group playing the media can't be trusted, the media's out to get us card. It's a popular and painful calling card for buffoons everywhere. But it happened again here, and as it turned out, he was spot on.
I just hope that everybody refers to Pete Nakos as just Nakos. It sounds funnier. Well, Nakos is nuts. Okay, first of all, and you could quote me on that. Nakos is a liar instead of Pete.
You like that better?
Nakos has a little bit more panache to it.
You're not wrong. Anyhow, so what ends up happening is my man no-shows at practice and the spring game. Heupel says have a good day, and here we are. It adds to sort of a feel of the unsavory element of college football and frustrating no guideposts for what we're doing out here these days. And it's not good for college football. This is part of the going through the growing pains of forever shifting the way that college football is operated. There's no czar of college football. There doesn't seem to be any semblance of order on the way. They'll just go back and they'll try to get, the House to help them in some way or another. They want antitrust status. I don't think this is going to happen, Tom. The things that they want, that they keep begging for, help us. Please help us.
I think we got another 3-4 years to help us before this thing becomes what it needs to become,
which is them becoming employees.
Yeah. And then you could set contracts so that on signing day.
Days,
oh my God, we just got that 5-star, and he signed a 3-year deal. That's the day that we're all yearning for. 3 years, he's in, locked in. Unless you fire your coach, that's it. We don't live there now, though.
We are desperately hoping to get to that time. In the meantime, it's
the eve of a playoff game. How much more can you do for me? I might not throw on those shoulder pads tomorrow.
This is bad for college football. Even if you think where college football is going to be better than it once was. I mean, not everybody believes that, but some people do. And even if you're in that camp, you would admit this is awful for college football. This is a terrible, terrible look.
I'm in that camp because it's more honest.
Right.
Right now you're in a bastardized era.
You're in a terrible place right now.
But it would be a more honest. I mean, everybody was Alabama magically just gets yeses from everybody. Is it just Nick Saban or is it Nick Saban plus? Not saying Nick isn't the large draw and a huge draw.
Yeah.
I think a couple of bucks made a couple of kids sway one way or the other.
May very well.
Yeah. And that's where we are going. This era right now does kind of suck.
It's awful. It's awful. You can't trust anything. It feels like a bastardization of professional football. And like you trust pro football so much more now than you do college football because they're very real, hard, and steadfast rules to how contracts get signed. And when you draft a guy and you have him under a rookie deal, you know exactly how long you have him. You know when you have the opportunity to extend. You know when you sign a free agent where he's going to be for the next 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, however long you sign him for.
Well, that's the other thing here. If you've got a capologist, right? You hired somebody to do the cap for the university. What happens when the kid comes back 2 weeks later and says, I want an extra $50,000?
Yeah.
'Cause that happens all the time.
Well, it's happening
all
now.
The time.
Yeah.
Where kids, they come to a deal and it was beyond their first deal that they signed with a collective. And then they say, you know what? I was actually thinking, you're going to have to give me another $75K. Like, how's that going to fit under the cap? That doesn't work like, it doesn't work like that.
Well, that's why they're hoping this goes through and it's hard and steadfast and governed and all of the other stuff that you've heard our athletic director talk about. Like, oh, well, there'll be people governing this and we'll have to be able to show them the numbers and it has to be a real market value deal and all of that stuff. We'll see. It doesn't feel like that's going to happen. There's a ton of lawsuits that will follow.
It'll be better than not having the house settlement, but we won't be home there. I mean, you're on maybe second base.
The thing is that this was universally panned. Like this situation with Nico and now it'll be key to see, does somebody sign him? Does he end up getting what he wants? Does somebody pay him $4 million? First of all, it would help if you were really good.
Yeah.
Can we start there? It would maybe, there'd be a distinct possibility it could happen if you were really good.
Yes, and then also it would help if the SEC was a destination that you could go to. But if you've got to sit for a year, that really undermines your negotiating leverage because you only have one super conference you can go to or a super hungry Big 12 team. That's not enough. I don't think that's enough to get the number you're looking for.
Yeah, the thought is that maybe UCLA comes in. But again, the more you read about UCLA's athletic department, it does not sound like they're swimming in money, which is I'm not aware of why that situation is the way it is. I don't cover that program. But it's strange to me that they're in that kind of dire straits financially. It's just bizarre to me.
$6 million, $1 million per win. There you go, kid. Come on out to UCLA.
Shannon Young, of course, has made the move to be a part of the nation's largest mortgage company, now with Cross Country Mortgage. That's good news for you. He serves in 7 states, Florida, Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, Texas, and the Carolinas. Better rates, better options, faster response, and stronger support. 20-plus years of experience with my man Shannon, relentless goal-oriented attitude, energy, ranks amongst the best in the country at his job, and his commitment is unwavering to you. I've seen it firsthand. Lots of Jeff Cameron Show listeners have reached out to Shannon by going to loansforknowles.com. That is loansforknowles.com to learn more.
Your local news now.
Lori Page, who has been missing since June of... story. Wiley has been booked into the Leon County Jail. This is Rachel Anay with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by McNamore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at McNamoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Ample sunshine expected this afternoon with daytime highs approaching 82. Southwesterly winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Clear skies again tonight. Lows dip down to about 57. Partly cloudy skies tomorrow. High of 84. Clear skies and dry. Wednesday and Thursday. Upper 70s. Wednesday. Low 80s by Thursday. This report is brought to you by The Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. currently 76.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future. There he is. Haven't seen this guy since, what was it? Oh, shoot. You two at the Sphere in Las Vegas, baby.
Hey, how about that, man? Wasn't that fun?
Good show. Good show. Everything about it. Nearly perfect. Nearly perfect.
I had everything I could possibly want.
I wanted one thing, couldn't find it, and I looked everywhere. No Cubans.
What do you mean?
No Cubans.
There was Cubans.
No, I didn't see any Cubans.
Dude, I'm sure there was Cubans there. I mean,
No. I walked around. There was a moment right before the show. I thought, got to find some Cubans. Nothing.
Dude, there's Cubans. There was Cubans. I'm sure there was Cubans.
In Las Vegas?
In Las Vegas.
No Cubans in Vegas.
There's Cubans in Vegas, man.
Eddie, there were no Cubans.
Chef.
The sandwich. There were no Cuban sandwiches. You're Cuban. Of course I know there were Cubans there.
Oh, the sandwich. Yeah, no, there probably wasn't many there in Vegas.
No Cubans.
No, not yet.
Florida, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
So we'll see what ends up happening with the Nico case. I, for one, bring it back to Florida State, and it's not a similar situation right now, but I'd like to see more guys told to have a good day, and maybe that'll happen in the next 48 hours before Wednesday's opening of the portal. We should probably get into news that more people.
I think you'd have a couple of waves, maybe some preliminary waves where if what you heard is accurate, and I don't have any reason to think otherwise, maybe some suggestions. We'll say, hey, why don't you get a jump on the action in the portal? Why don't you get a jump on that opens Wednesday? But I think, you have a week. Practice closes on Saturday. You can have an exit meeting and a come to Jesus with your position coach or coordinator or head man. And you could get told, here's the deal. We'll keep you, but I don't know, man. I don't know. If you want to play, probably not here. So you might have a second wave after the actual camp concludes. So I would say probably stay tuned throughout the next 5-7 days.
It's certainly frustrating to, the early situation, the Jalen Early situation is, I don't think a surprise. Redshirt junior, right? I mean,
yeah, rising redshirt junior.
Yeah,
Correct.
I mean, at some point, he was. Listen, he wasn't expected to start this year. Obviously, they brought in Medley, so
you got Medley, Ferguson, Leonard,
Ferguson.
Daniels.
Ferguson hasn't been any good yet. I'm going to need him to take a step forward, but it's not surprising.
Oh, I agree, but it's not like you'd say, well, that was a waste. Jalen Early's clearly better than TJ Ferguson. We're not having that conversation because he did play 3 games at right tackle and 3 at right guard last year, did Early. So nowhere. There's not a fit anywhere.
No. Yeah, because the one at guard, you have Leonard and Otto, who's been trained at center as well. Then Ferguson as well. You've got Medley, and you had Early. Estes is playing both guard and center. He's been getting a lot of run.
You could get Rizzy back in that rotation when he's healthy. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not the end of the world is my point. And, I think the hard part is, again, when we talk about players being able to leave, we've said for years and years and years, I go way back to when I used to point out to people all the time that, coaches up and leave places all the time. And I feel like players should be able to do that. If a coach leaves, especially one that recruited him, I felt like you should be able to leave as well. You get a pass for that. There were certain caveats within the rules that I thought should exist for players to be able to leave. Now, the one thing I would say about coaches leaving, especially if they still had years on their contract, there's money that's paid back that is owed to the university. And there are safety, measures in place that help in terms of the compensation that comes back to the school. With players having unlimited transfers currently and no rules to unrestricted free agency here, That's where you feel a certain lack of control, and I don't mean control as it used to be over players. I mean in the effort to promote some sort of fairness and really, I think fair business practices. You would say, no, you can't just up and transfer 6 times in the span of 2 years, 3 years. Like what we're seeing is that, and that's what people want to cap on. That's what people say, hey, look, man, again, kids getting paid, fine, I'm for it. Work out contract, good for you, get paid, but it's contract.
Yeah, in exchange for the money, there are some things that you have to give
you
up.
have to actually do.
You got to give up some stuff to get some
Yes,
stuff.
that's the way it works.
Early's departure puts a footnote in what was lauded as a saving grace of a recruiting class for the offensive line back a few seasons ago. And that's Jalen Early, Kayshawn Sapp, Antavius Woody, Kanaya Charlton. Remember some of these names? Julian Armella, Daughtry Richardson.
Worked out. All those guys became stars.
That's correct. Our hit rate was 0.
Big, fat 0.
0.
You know, I don't know. But it seems to me if your hit rate is 0, you're going to have a hard time competing with the best in all of college football. You're going to have a hard time competing with the average in college football. You're going to have a hard time competing against those who recruit poorly with a hit rate of 0 for your offensive line.
We've seen too many hit rates of 0 on the offensive line, not only in the recruiting world, but then also within a game, PFF-wise.
No hitting. There was no hitting going on here at all.
Boy,
none.
52 snaps played to a 0.
Played to a 0. God, dog it. Yeah, and then when you think about it, too, it upsets you because even if you go to the players that ended up, some of whom were carryovers from the previous coaching staff, believe it or not, but even a guy like Darius Washington, again, who Mike didn't recruit, was brought in by the previous coaching staff. Darius has a moment in the sun, and you think he's entering that final season, year 47 in the Garnet and Gold. He's going to have his big year. And he takes a massive step back.
You could argue that in the Atkins era, the best linemen were from the previous staff still.
Yes.
If Robert Scott wasn't as hurt.
Yes. I mean, Robert Scott, by the way, obviously gets riddled with injury towards the back end of his career. He had some nice moments, but he doesn't emerge and he doesn't get better. He gets worse because of those injuries. Unfortunate for him. I like Robert Scott. I thought he tried everything he could to be out there, but he was beat to hell, to quote Jimbo Fisher from back in the day. Not specifically about Robert Scott, but about Datco. But yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like even the guys that you had high, Maurice Smith took a massive step backwards.
Spartlock's got a concussion. Datco's beat to hell.
Yeah. I mean, like that. Think about that. Maurice Smith, who you thought surely will depend on Maurice Smith to have a good season. He's been here forever. Good technique. He's above average, but nope. He's going to suck too.
Our most viable backups in the Maurice Smith era at center were Caden Lyles for like 5 practices before he got hurt, and Stickle.
Number 64.
That's right.
My man Stickle.
Now there's a kid who got the most out of what he was.
You're damn right he did. He worked hard every day.
I don't know. Dylan Gibbons, maybe Bless Harris for a minute.
Well,
I thought Jazz got the most out of what he was. He wasn't very good, but he got the most out of it.
Bless Harris we let go for no damn reason whatsoever. He would have been a starter and a good one. After having been a starter and a good one. He would have, that sucked. That was a mistake. Let's just hope that this puts a ribbon on that nonsense. There's this run of complete whiffs on the offensive line. Because that feels like it's been a bit in perpetuity. I mean, you got to go back a ways.
Yeah. Like almost as far as Big Rod Johnson.
Big Rod. I mean, they were more than adequate a couple years ago. Not great.
You got the best of Maurice, the best of Darius. Yes. Maurice was a hero on that team. I always want to put that back out there. That dude played injured.
Yeah. You got the best of Darius. You got the best of Maurice. You got the best of, you did. Robert Scott was still contributing at that time. But
healthy.
But Tom, it does always feel like we're just chasing at that position. It's always sort of this, well, he'll do. I mean, I want to have the conversation where like, okay, now he's an All-American. You don't worry about him. What do we got next to him? Like, can we start a conversation with that at some point?
Yeah, why do we bring that transfer in? The kid we already have is better. That's never, it's always,
Never.
I hope the transfer is replacement level because that would be a huge win for us.
Yeah. We're always just crossing our fingers. That's got to change if Florida State's going to find sustained success in the near future. We go to hour 2 forthcoming. Stay with us. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Hey, everybody, it's Ed Dean along with Roger Henderson, also with FloridaDaily.com. Just want to remind you, daily 4 to 6 in the afternoons right here in Tallahassee on Real Talk 93.3 FM. Roger, it is literally the 2 fastest hours anywhere in afternoon talk radio.
And if you think the country's going crazy, we'll help you make sense of it all.
Oh, yeah, we'll try to make some sense of it. Again, Monday through Friday in the afternoons, Ed Dean, Roger Henderson on 93.3.
Hey everybody, this is Shannon Young with Cross Country Mortgage. Been in the industry now for 22 years. I just made the move over to the nation's largest retail lender, Cross Country Mortgage, here to serve you in 7 states, including Florida, Georgia, Alabama, the Carolinas, Tennessee, and the state of Texas. Here to offer better service, better rates, and if you were thinking about buying or if you've been on the fence and been waiting to call me, now is the time. You can still find me at loansforknowles.com. That is, again, loansforknowles.com. I've helped thousands of fellow Knowles get into their dream home, and I can't wait to help you get into yours. Give me a call today. I'm at 954-369-6171, or go to loansforknowles.com. Again, that's 954-369-6171, and that's loansforknowles.com.
Equal housing NMLS 373031.
Tired of spending money on bug spray and inhaling all those fumes every time you want to go outside? Treat your yard so you can stop spraying your kids.
Paul's Termite and Pest Control has a solution to this persistent problem. Paul's has a program which seeks the grounds, flower bed, and shrubs. Paul's controls pesky mosquitoes year-round, which means you can take back control of your yard. Not only are mosquitoes a physical irritation, they also pose a potential health risk to people and pets. With Paul's targeted techniques, you can rest assured that your yard will be protected and your afternoons will stay fun.
Take back your yard. Don't let mosquitoes interrupt the fun. For more information, go to callpauls.com. For the elimination of termites or any other pest.
And a greener lawn, too.
Call Pauls. We'll get them all.
Pauls can help eliminate fire ants from your lawn, too. We'll help you take your yard back.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Knowles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Real Talk fact number 44. Banging your head against the wall for 1 hour burns 150 calories. This is Real Talk 93.3, Tallahassee's Real Talk station.
Coming up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show, live and local on Real Talk 93.3, WVFT, present Tallahassee. Your sports action update on Real Talk 93.3 with all the latest odds from Vegas.
The 4-11 Atlanta Braves have lost 9 of 10 on the road this year. They're minus 105 at Toronto today. And Easton Lucas, the Blue Jays, minus 115 on the money line. The total is 8.5 over at Rogers Center. The Braves have lost 9 of 10 on the road this year. Shane Bond's on the mound today for the Tampa Bay Rays. He's an $1.25 favorite against Tanner Hawk and the Red Sox, plus 105. The total 8.5 over at Steinbrenner Field. Rory McIlroy completes his career Grand Slam with the win at the Masters in a playoff with Justin Rose. Scotty Scheffler, the plus 350 favorite to win this week's RBC Heritage. $250 bonus, and you open up a G-Bank Visa signature card. Visa.com/G-Bank. Mike Son at Real Talk 93.3.
Find what you love and love what you find. A Total Wine and More, the place to go for sipping rosés with seltzers on ice, making margaritas with your favorite tequilas. It's warm now, let's go. Prices are low on spirits, beer, and wine. You're gonna find what you love and love what you find.
Only at Total Wine and More. Drink responsibly, B21.
Springfest deals are still in full swing at Lowe's. Right now, get 5 bags of Stay Green Premium Color 2 cubic foot mulch for only $10. And get up to 40% off select major appliances. Plus, save up to $300 when you buy 2 or more select GE kitchen appliances of $396 or more. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 4/16, excludes Alaska and Hawaii. Selection varies by location while supplies last. See Lowe's.com for more details and qualifying items.
There's nothing like relaxing in a hot tub after a long day. But if you don't have one, you're truly missing out. Hot tubs and spas have tremendous health benefits, besides just helping you relax. Like improving your sleep, they help with pain relief. They help to better your cardiovascular health, and so much more. And this season is the perfect season to finally buy what you've been wishing for. Pinch a Penny Pool, Patio, and Spas has the hot tubs you need for the price you want. Come shop our huge 12,000 square foot showroom and save today. There's over 50 hot tubs in stock right now, so you won't have to wait weeks on end for that delivery to finally come to town. If you're ready to relax, we're here to show you how. Pinch a Penny Pool, Patios, and Spas. Come visit our huge showroom at 2473 Greer Road with over 50 hot tubs to choose from. You'll be glad you did.
No matter what printing you need to keep your business running, we can help. Hi, Jason Butera here for The Printery. Reduce your stress and give us a call. From new product brochures or posters to yard signs, postcards, even letterhead and envelopes, The Printery sets the standard in personalized service with outstanding results. We offer full-service graphic design and free pickup and delivery. The Printery, home of 36-cent color copies. If it's ink on paper, we've got it covered. Call us today, 877-6418. 877-6418.
Science-backed, technology-tracked, and coach-led. Hey, Jeff Cameron here. You've heard me rave about the benefits of Orange Theory Fitness and the proven track record of science-backed interval training. Well, now Orange Theory Fitness has done it again, adding more ways for you to improve your health and look your best. In addition to the always great standard workouts, OTF has added Tread 50 and Strength 50 for those in the mood to just lift for an afternoon or attack those cardio goals for the day. Take the guesswork out of exercise. Make sure you're getting the most out of each and every workout. Orange Theory Fitness, location Midtown Tallahassee and Village Square Boulevard.
Florida's capital city. This is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
On the fact that baseball got the sweep. They play again tomorrow, this time against USF right here in Tallahassee. Hopefully the Noles keep the win streak going. Great to see terrific starting pitching. Bullpen wasn't required to do that much heavy lifting, but what lifting they did have to do, they came through with. That was nice to see. And Florida State gets the series sweep of Virginia Tech. That was big. That's not a nothing Virginia Tech team. That's a ranked Virginia Tech team. Pretty good team. And Florida State pitching dominated the series.
19 2/3 from your starters, 3 runs.
Yeah, that'll work.
That will work.
That'll work. That is the recipe for success, as we've talked about. And they get the series win in grand fashion. The old sweeping of that ass is a glorious thing. Football, we're coming down to the end of spring football, what I have described as an attitude adjustment, a shift in priorities, focus, and intensity. Mike has pretty much maintained that through line as spring has worn on. There really hasn't been much in the way of wavering about the demand for intensity, physicality, focus, the edge, as he calls it. A lot of people rightfully will say, great, I'm with you. But it's better than him not enforcing something that should be the norm. That should be the norm. You ought not have to worry about that most days. We have had to worry about it. He's gone about the process of attempting to correct it this spring. A couple guys have now entered the portal. I suspect we'll hear more names entering the portal soon. I do not look at it as a bad thing, unless, of course, we're shocked by one of the names who was going to be a major contributor or something of that ilk. There may be that feeling of, early goes into the portal and we go, damn it, another whiff on the offensive line. Really? Another whiff on the offensive line? But there hasn't been a name yet that you go, ooh, that's going to sting. And I believe there will be. I believe there'll be a name or two where you go, ooh, I kind of wish that hadn't happened. But I think that kind of goes with the territory when you're changing schemes on both sides of the ball, when you're trying to implement a greater level of focus and intensity. Yes, Adam, I think a running back will be leaving. I wouldn't be surprised if more than one left. I don't know that. I don't have inside information on that front, but I definitely think that look at that room. It's a log jam. And I'll tell you something else. It's a bit of a log jam without any real showstoppers. You have too many running backs and none of them are elite. That sucks. I'd like it if they were all fleeing for the portal because there's two of them that are above them on the depth chart who are can't miss difference makers on Saturdays.
That keeps them all interested, though. Like, well, that guy's not very much more than I am. I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah. We'll see. There is one on the way in the fall that apparently is a difference maker, and we'll have to see him up close and personal when we get the chance. I'm sure knocking on woods at this point, or wood, that it does happen. Maybe woods, maybe randomly. Just woods everywhere.
I want to talk to you guys, Gus here, about two guys, Chroma and Pacquiao. Chroma's coming here.
Yeah.
Pacquiao is all you. Pack your stuff. You're going out.
I wish. No, I think Sam Singleton will stay here, and we'll see which other running backs. Perhaps Tom's guy, Keziah Holmes,
will stick around.
Maybe.
I hope.
Well, I feel like he's been somewhat productive. That's what I can glean from.
That's right.
From camp. He's not changing the game.
Just you wait. He's a gamer.
So, Garrett says, so Cam Davis is just a falling tree, basically. It doesn't feel like, yeah, I know. It doesn't feel like this has been a good camp for him. Maybe it has. Maybe there have been great things on the days that we have not been able to watch practice, and Cam is responsible for those things, and it's not ever being discussed by the head coach or anybody else, ever. Maybe. Or you can glean from what you've seen here that he's been pedestrian. Doesn't mean he won't figure it out.
It can happen.
It can.
Running back, usually you kind of know one way or the other, but it can happen. I think if you have a couple of departures that it might sting a little bit, maybe because they're veteran players. You still have to think about it in terms of dollars and cents. This is also why I like this era of college football. It kind of sucks right now, but the idea of, hey, there's always an economic value to it. So if somebody leaves and you got like a guy who's pretty good behind him, all right, let's use that money elsewhere and get aggressive and bring somebody else in, either a grad transfer or a traditional spring portal transfer.
We'll see. It's an expensive time for the portal. The spring always is, and you got to overpay for average. And you got to really overpay for good. So we'll see. I don't know. I'm wondering how active they're going to be in the portal. I don't have the answer to that question. I'll be attempting to figure that out in the coming days as we wind up spring football. We're nearly at the end. So some football-related news there. You got a couple of transfer portal entries said to be taking place this upcoming Wednesday. Hence, they intend to enter the portal. That'd be Trevor Jackson, the oft-asked-about fourth-string quarterback, and Jalen Early, the backup guard. At one time, a guy that a lot of people had high hopes for. He has played in 17 games. It's not like he hasn't played.
Well, that was always one player personally that when was described, like, well, look, he's put on weight. I don't see it. I don't see it. And, he's got the frame of a tackle. I'm like, he's not tall enough. I don't understand where I think those were hope.
Well,
those were talking points of hope.
300 pounds. Yeah, I know. And today's day and age, it is remarkable how big tackles are.
That 300 was kind of like Warwick Dunn's 5'11" on some of listings.
You're right. He's not 5'11".
5'11".
No.
5'9", I might even go, I'm not so sure. Like the 300, I think that's 288 all day.
Well, he might be 300. He's just not a difference maker. I mean, he's not doing anything.
Well,
It's just
one of those guys everybody seemed to try very hard to say, it's going to work this year.
Well, can you blame our fellow Florida State faithful trying to project goodness, not even greatness, just goodness on one of these linemen? I mean, we're so beat to hell, just battered and bruised, tired of looking out at that offensive line going, whole lot of sorry asses out there. I mean, it's brutal.
Well, that was one of Atkins' guys, too, that he would get asked about Armella, or he'd get asked about something. He goes, well, Jalen Early's. Like, is he? Is he? It's like Ann in Arrested Development, Michael Cera's girlfriend.
Yeah.
Her? Ann? Who? We sure about that?
It's funny because a lot of times we can come in here and objectively just talk about a thing that is good or bad or something in between. And really, it's always a little bit nuanced. There's this idea that, this isn't where I'd like it to be right now. They're going to have to do better here. Here's where I think the sport's going. Here's a strength for Mike. Here's a weakness for Mike. Here's what he's going to have to get his staff to do better. Here's something that they've really hit on really well, better than most. And we'll find all of that within the course of a long-form discussion about Florida State football. But, man, the offensive line, I just feel for Noles everywhere. That we go into so many games knowing it is not going to be something that gives us an advantage. So many games where we just know, that won't be the reason. I mean, we might win, but it ain't going to be because of them. And I'm tired of it. It kills me.
It's been a long grind there in that department.
Damn it, man.
I could think of one instance where Trevor Maddich, no doubt in between panic attacks thinking about analytics, said on SportsCenter's desk as he was on the set of proper SportsCenter, well, this is the worst offensive line in power football, and it's not close. And I'm going to show you why. And then he goes to the all 22.
Yeah.
Well, that was about 6 years ago. And he could do it again if he wants to this past year. Oh, my Lord.
Well, the Georgia Tech game, outside of the opening drive.
Yeah.
The opening drive, you're like, look at this, gangbusters.
Will people be happy after an opening drive if we go down the field and score against Alabama? We're going to say, hang on a minute.
Well, it is Alabama, not Georgia Tech. If you go marching right down the field against Alabama.
It's a 4-loss Alabama.
I'm just saying, you go marching down the field against Alabama as an 11.5-point underdog and score, not a prohibited favorite as we were against Georgia Tech, Tom. I think that people will take note. Now, it doesn't mean that you can, project sustainability, but it will be something that gets your hopes up a little bit. It's a little different animal. But I do want us to get closer and closer to the moment. Maybe Coach Hand is the guy. I don't know. But at some point, I just want to look out there and say, all right, we're free to operate and look at ways in which we can expose this defense's weakness, because I don't have to worry about having a semblance of decency from my offensive line. That is established. They're going to be okay. They may not dominate. It's a good front they're facing this week. They're also not going to get their head handed to them. We're going to have our fair share of victories on the offensive line, enough to establish some sort of running game here and then play off of it, right? I want to be able to just say that we could do all of those things and then some, obviously, in 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015 to an extent. Those were years that you could just go into games going, all right, well, what will Jimbo do to attack this, this, and this? And the thought of the offensive line, which is always omnipresent on the minds of Florida State fans and really fans of any football program, they all believe their offensive line sucks. Even when it's really good, they think it sucks because an offensive line, when beaten, it is very obvious. They don't get lost in the wash. If a guy comes charging through your offensive line within a second of the snap and sacks your quarterback, you don't need to know technically who was at fault. The offensive line screwed something up.
Well, the offensive line is like an official. If you don't notice them, they're doing
a good job. That's right.
That's it.
The problem is week after week after week after week, when we watch Florida State's offensive line over the last several years, it's always suspect. It's always, well, here we go.
Yes, last hour I was saying Big Rod Johnson, that 14 line is one of only maybe two, because 13 was pretty good. But that 14 line would blow you off the ball. Once they made that move of Cam to center,
yes,
and Rod was at left, oh my God, what that offensive line would do.
Yeah, they had problems for other reasons. Jameis turned the ball over too much that year.
Yes.
The defense went through the motions for many games until they decided to lock somebody down because it was winning time. Yeah, I mean, they were kind of going through the motions in general as a team. But when they wanted to, they blew people off the ball. They did.
I'm sure Dalvin thought, this is going to be an awesome career. I'm hardly going to get touched behind the line. And then the next 2 years, he still produced at a ridiculous rate.
He sure did.
But he had to dodge people 1/10 of 1 second after touching the football.
But I think it resonates what I'm talking about here right now about this offensive line, about the year over year. It's one thing. Like sometimes we'll point out that we have nothing special at wide receiver. Last year is obvious. They had nothing special at wide receiver. A whole bunch of sorry is what they had at wide receiver. And, that's unfortunate. Quarterback didn't help them out. Offensive line sucked. We went 2-10. There's a lot that went wrong. It's the toughie. You keep running backs weren't good. Wide receivers kind of sucked. Boy, that line didn't block anybody, did it? Quarterback was inconsistent.
We really like Jalen Lucas' speed. We had two problems. One, Mike forgot to use him in the first game of the season as he was coughing through his play sheet. Mike Norvell was. And he apologized after the game saying, we need to.
Oh, yeah.
I kind of lost him there. I probably need to put him back in there. And then he was hurt. So that was that. And that was about your only game-breaking player. Well, that and Destin Hill could have been, but,
Well, we lost him too.
Yep.
That's the other talking point, by the way, regarding Florida State football that we've got to get past. And I think this is just bad luck. I really believe I will chalk up Florida State's injury woes to bad luck. It's football. You go through spates of this. It happens. Sometimes you're on the wrong end of it. You're very unlucky. Other times you have a prolonged run of very good health and you don't say it, dare whisper it. You just, okay, we're still healthy. Let's go.
You don't think Josh Storms is spiking their protein shakes to sabotage this thing?
No, I no. And I've talked to a lot of people about this. I've had former players reach out to me, and I brought this up last week and say, boy, we sure do have a lot of injuries. I'm like, one of the guys that reached out to me is a former NFL player, and I said, what are your thoughts on that? I know you're asking for mine, but what are your thoughts? You played in the league. And he admitted, he's like, I'm just frustrated. I just think we've been unlucky. I'm like, right. Because if you could pinpoint something, I'd like to know about it. I'd like to know exactly what it is you think we're not doing or doing to cause this situation. He couldn't.
Well, that IPF turf is maybe cursed. Because how many dudes have we seen go down on the turf?
But I've seen him get hurt out on the grass, too. I think we've been unlucky, man. It's just, I really do think they've just been unlucky there. I know that's not a great answer. Nobody likes to hear that. They want some sort of,
hydration maybe could be.
Well, they want to be able to exact, a talking point, a vengeance of some kind. Like, this is what we're not. Nobody can. It's not there. It's not there. They've just been unlucky. But also,
Tony asked in the chat, which is a reasonable, just rhetorical, really. After 5 years, is it just unlucky?
No, I really think it is. I think it is. Now, listen, we're always very, very cognizant of how many injuries your team has. Like you're gonna know every player that's been hurt for your team. You're not paying attention to anybody else's. But I think if you kind of go camp for camp, and if we could Google Earth this bitch and I could just drop you anywhere in the country amongst fan bases who are passionate like ours to talk about their football team, if they didn't know they were being set up for something, if you just were like belly up, oh, so you're a Michigan State fan, are you? Yeah. You know, I've kind of always had a soft spot for Michigan State. You guys got great uniforms. Oh, really? Where are you from? Tallahassee? I like, you know, I'm a Knoll. I root for Florida State. Oh, yeah, you guys have had a tough go lately. Yeah. We've had a lot of injuries. Us too. Because that's how that conversation would go. We've had a lot. I mean, 2 years ago, we missed our entire offensive line. Lest anybody forgets, Oklahoma last year lost 5 starting wide receivers.
I wouldn't remember that. So, you know,
5.
Yeah.
Like, that's the problem, man. And they had actual dudes who could play. Unlike our receivers, they got dudes that could actually play.
We had like 1.5, and they both got hurt. I think our hit rate on important players is worse than many teams in the country. That would be maybe the sheer numbers of injuries are the same or similar in different camps. But if we were playing deal or no deal, and you got open the case, they're all millions and 500Ks and 250Ks. Like, oh, I picked 6 numbers out of 40, and they're all 6 figures or higher. Good Lord.
Well, the problem is, too, when we've had injuries, they've been saturated in one segment group or one side of the ball. I mean, the one year it was just all defensive players or all offensive players. Like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, all the receivers in the Pitt game 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And then Jordan went down, and that was that.
It's a toughie.
Tried so hard to protect him all year.
Again, and if they could have run the ball at all.
Right, if they bothered.
If they could have. I mean, They couldn't. They had to get up on it every game.
You know, Mike was talking about effort last week. He said, well, we were down 10 points in so many games, including to an FCS opponent. I'm like, I know. That's when our season ended.
I also don't think I would have brought that up.
No. Nope.
No, your quarterback felt compelled to take off because you couldn't move the football in a traditional running game against South Alabama, whoever the hell that was.
Yeah, Alabama of some kind.
Some north, south, whatever.
North.
Damn it. That's what I say when my roof suffers damage, Tom. T-Spark knows how to work with the insurance companies and help navigate the insurance process to help put your home back to pre-claim condition. That's good. Heavy rains will wear down shingles and other elements of a roof. High winds, rainfall after a storm's wake can involve lost shingles and moisture penetration into the underlayment. I say that all the time. T-Spark highly recommends you consider preparing your roof for hurricanes and other intense storms this hurricane season. Provide that checklist if you go to the website and find out all that you should be doing, or you can give it a call today, 850-766-1340. That's 850-766-1340. License number CGC 1525336, CCC 1331204.
Like most of us, your home is your greatest investment. I mean, think about it. The financial benefits, the newfound freedoms of purchasing a home can contribute to your family's health and wealth and happiness. Well, with real estate trends pointing to a favorable market for buyers, this is the time to be sure of what you're buying or selling. And that is exactly why Joel Hagens built ACL Home Inspections, providing you thorough, precise, and efficient service with same-day, easy-to-read digital reports. They'll even go with you on a walkthrough inspection of the home you want to buy. If you're planning to list your house before putting it up for sale, ACL will provide you a pre-listing inspection. Call today, 850-312-8919, 312-8919. Remember, before you buy or sell, call ACL.
I got a fever, and the only prescription is more cowbell.
Do you have spring fever? Your only prescription is the Lawn Johns. Hi, it's Mark from the Lawn Johns. We can make your landscape more appealing by providing you with award-winning lawn care. With 4 levels of service, the Lawn Johns offers you more choices than the rest. More flowers, more mulch, or more pine straw all means that your home or office will be more beautiful than ever. So if you've got spring fever, go to thelawnjohns.com or just look for our big purple truck.
I gotta have more cowbell.
I got some pretty spooky news from my Paul's Termite and Pest Control technician the other day. It turns out that I'm sharing my home with Formosan termites. Those little monsters do damage about 4 times faster than the regular termites. Fortunately, Paul's discovered them on a routine general pest service, and they've already turned the Formosans back using an amazing treatment called Centricon.
Paul's was the first to introduce the Centricon termite colony elimination system to North Florida and is the leader in this non-invasive treatment. Instead of dumping gallons and gallons of harsh chemicals into our soil, Centricon uses environmentally sensitive treatments loaded in bait stations. These stations are placed around the home. Termites are present, they feed, and take it back to the colony, which is then destroyed. To learn more about Centricon and a free consultation, go to callpauls.com for the elimination of termite or any other pest.
And a greener lawn, too.
Call Pauls. We'll get them all.
Hey everybody, this is Shannon Young with Cross Country Mortgage. Been in the industry now for 22 years. I just made the move over to the nation's largest retail lender, Cross Country Mortgage, here to serve you in 7 states, including Florida, Georgia, Alabama, the Carolinas, Tennessee, and the state of Texas. Here to offer better service, better rates, and if you were thinking about buying or if you've been on the fence and been waiting to call me, now is the time. You can still find me at loansforknowles.com. That is, again, loansforknowles.com. I've helped thousands of fellow Knowles get into their dream home, and I can't wait to help you get into yours. Give me a call today. I'm at 954-369-6171, or go to loansforknowles.com. Again, that's 954-369-6171, and that's loansforknowles.com.
Equal housing, NMLS 373031.
Science-backed, technology-tracked, and coach-led. Hey, Jeff Cameron here. You've heard me rave about the benefits of Orange Theory Fitness and the proven track record of science-backed interval training. Well, now Orange Theory Fitness has done it again, adding more ways for you to improve your health and look your best. In addition to the always great standard workouts, OTF has added Tread 50 and Strength 50 for those in the mood to just lift for an afternoon or attack those cardio goals for the day. Take the guesswork out of exercise. Make sure you're getting the most out of each and every workout. Orange Theory Fitness, location Midtown Tallahassee and Village Square Boulevard.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Let's jump in here for Above and Beyond this week. Who went above and beyond? By the way, parents, it's time to book those summer trips if you haven't done it already. A little late for Easter weekend. That's coming up, but under $500 a night on the water, a 3-story luxury condo, perhaps something to think about. $200 for Memorial Day, starting under $250 for July 4th. That'll work. Those are great rates, and we talked all about Above and Beyond. It's been fun working with them, and more and more of you guys have signed up, and we appreciate that. I'm hoping that we'll get more as we get closer and closer to those summer vacations and school ends. People looking to perhaps go down south. There's the Enchanted Inn motel that they talk about a lot. Now, the reason being, 7 private rooms, 6 standard motel rooms, 1 luxury room that sleeps 4 people. Every room has a king bed, a kitchen, full bathroom, private porches on the first floor, balcony on the second floor, overlooking the pool area, the intercoastal waterway there. It's 2 blocks from the beach if you don't want to stay right on the beach. Of course, they have properties right on the beach if that's your cup of tea. You get the north part of Clearwater Beach, kind of a residential area away from all of that craziness if you want. Available for groups up to 16 there. And then, of course, you have all the stuff, as I said before, right on the water, aboveandbeyondbr.com. And use the promo code JCS. 5% off still, Tommy?
5% off, yes, sir.
So this is an easy one. If we're going to keep it to Florida State, per se, I mean, otherwise you'd give it to Rory McIlroy. But I think that what we're going to do here is, without question, give it to the starting pitching. Who went above and beyond this weekend? It was the starting pitching for Florida State that ensures a series win, first of all, in the doubleheader on Saturday. Getting both those wins with your horses rising to the occasion, first Vellini, then Arnold. You still get a good performance from Mendez yesterday, who actually started out very shaky. I thought we were going to get another poor performance from him. Instead, he rights the ship, gets out of the first, and then is very good from there. And Florida State, at the end of the day, did all that they needed to get the win on a Sunday to complete the sweep 4-2 that time around. Really kind of fun to watch because that was gritty. Again, if you look at the Saturday doubleheader, you give up all of 2 runs over the 2 games. And Vellini and Arnold take up the lion's share of the innings of those 18 that were played. And then again, if you look for the series, Florida State only had to use 6 pitchers total. That'll work. That will work. And if I count those relievers with the starters, 6 pitchers total, they give up all of 4 earned runs. That's it in 3 games.
Yeah, and a lot of it was tight. You might look at the game with Jamie Arnold and you see the final score. Well, it was close for the bulk of his start. Into the fourth, yeah. I think into the 6th, it was still 3-1.
Then we pull away and whoop that ass.
Right, exactly. And yeah, they scored 1 in the 4th, did Virginia Tech. But the Vellini game was close all the way. The Mendez game was close all the way. 3-1 and 4-2, respectively, were those 2 finals. Again, 19 and 2/3 innings pitched, only 3 runs allowed by the starters. And then the bullpen, 7 1/3 innings, only 1 run allowed.
Yeah.
And 1 walk. That's awesome because control issues have plagued Florida State. So Abraham, Charles, and Peyton Prescott, all excellent work out of the bullpen. I love seeing those numbers because they got 2 different columns, walks and hit batsmen. Neither were a problem for Florida State out of the pen. That's why you're able to go starter, 1 primary reliever in all 3 games, which is also a lot more important too. You need length from your starters and a good performance out of the bullpen when you have a doubleheader, because that means you're going to set up short rest on day 2 for even game 3. Now you're even operating with fewer arms available to you. That's outstanding work at a time when we really, really needed to stop the bleeding, and they did.
AboveandBeyondVR.com, promo code JCS. Also, texts work. I know that Matt and Jen are always willing to field your texts and to get back with you promptly. If you want to text them and inquire about one of the over 30 properties that they have in locations in downtown Dunedin, Palm Harbor, Clearwater Beach, coastal Pinellas County, basically, you can do so at 727-253-5995. That's 727-253-5995. And that, sir, is a good thing. We'll step away briefly, come back. I believe Irash fell. We're open. We'll see. He's running a little behind. It happens. Either way, I know where I'm going. I got something to talk about.
He's volunteering. What can you do?
It's Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news.
Of crimes involving child sexual materials. He was arrested and booked into the Leon County Detention Facility. This is Rachel and A with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Ample sunshine expected this afternoon with daytime highs approaching 82. Southwesterly winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Clear skies again tonight. Lows dip down to about 57. Partly cloudy skies tomorrow. High of 84. Clear skies and dry Wednesday and Thursday. Upper 70s Wednesday. Low 80s by Thursday. This report is brought to you by The Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Currently 79.
Did you know that the survivability of a metal roof far exceeds that of a traditional shingle roof? At Metal Roofing Sales of Tallahassee, we have new state-of-the-art roll formers that produce the highest quality Versa panel, PBR panel, and standing seam options. And we will guarantee to match or beat any local competitor's pricing. We're a family-owned business ready to offer you the best sales and installation service in the area. And don't forget about our veterans and first responders discounts. Call Metal Roofing Sales today, 850-536-9123, or visit us online at metalroofing.net.
There is no Bigfoot, Eddie. Would you stop with that nonsense?
There's a Bigfoot, Jeff.
I wish there were. By the way, I don't want you to point to me as the guy that takes all the fun out of the room. I wish there was the Loch Ness Monster. I wish there was the Bigfoot. I wish there was the Chupacabra. All the things.
They're all mythical except for the Bigfoot. The Sasquatch.
The Bigfoot?
The Bigfoot. There's big feet. There's lots of them.
So like different, breeds, like different kinds.
There's like, families. There's different families. And,
so there's if they're in the snow, you call them a Sasquatch.
Or the Yeti, right?
Yeah,
and then here in Florida, that's a skunk ape. And, but
never heard that one. By the way, why do you think it's real? We would have found them by now.
They're the hide and seek champions of the world. Nobody finds the Bigfoot.
I think you believe in Bigfoot.
I do believe in Bigfoot.
You don't believe.
I believe in Bigfoot.
Don't tell anybody you believe in Bigfoot.
I would go look for Bigfoot, but he scares me.
Florida, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
It's crazy how quickly things change, not only in your life, but in the world of sports, obviously. We see this all the time. We think something is one way, turns out to be another. Sometimes that's true, even in tragedy. What a crazy story over the weekend. Kyron Lacey, who we all watched, Tom, dead. Apparent suicide. Think about where Kyron, I don't want to get morbid. This is just the reality of the situation, but we saw Kyron Lacey. We know Kyron Lacey. Think about what your thought was of him when we first saw him and what he was going to be and how quickly this has turned. Obviously from potential to a life in the NFL, fulfillment of a dream come true, hard work, and immense talent to dead. Because, look, he was going to jail. He struck and killed somebody in a drunk driving accident and ran from the scene. This was a while back. He eventually turned himself in. This was, of course, going to say the least, affect his draft status, if at all. Most people believing he certainly would not be drafted. He recognized that. Police responded to a call from a family member who said that he had discharged a firearm, was in an argument. I don't know the circumstances with Lacey. I don't want to get into him personally. Don't know him. Doesn't sound like this was a good situation at all, with a lot of mistakes made. But it ended as it ended. And you can't, like when you're watching a game and you see a guy and you think, oh, that dude's going to the league. That guy's going to be set for life. That guy's got it. And it's happened a lot with receivers in the last several years. Obviously, we know what happened with Ruggs, that situation in the NFL. This isn't a larger point to talk about. I mean, we can go back to Cincinnati, the receiver there. There's been a lot of these things. It's really shocking. It's tragic all the way around. But I remember just watching him play thinking, man, remember, because we got mad at Moscata, wasn't it? When he was saying
Moscona.
Sorry. Yeah. He's talking about the collection of LSU receivers and how much better they were. Now, on that night, we really had a good day. Turns out those receivers probably were better.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
Well, we covered like Jesse's from the second half on.
Man, did we.
There was one mistake. He had an overthrow at the end of the third quarter, did Daniels. And think about that now, too.
Well, that's the other part of it. Jaden Daniels, who we beat twice.
Whew. But he had an overthrow at the end of the third quarter on a shot play. It was a broken play, a lot of good protection, and then he ends up throwing the pick in the first play of the fourth quarter. And that was a hidden moment of where it was just, all right, now lights out. This game's over for Florida State. But yeah. It's
a wild turn of events. That's all.
It is.
I mean, I'm not going down that road. Obviously, he made terrible mistakes. But if you go all the way back, he declared for the NFL draft. That was 2 days after the crash. Everybody's kind of unsure what happened in that situation. He participated in March, Tom, for Pro Day. I mean, up until very, very recently, it looked like I don't know what's going to happen with that situation. I don't know what he's guilty of, what he isn't guilty of. He was charged with negligent homicide, felony hit and run. That's not good. I don't know what's true, what's not true. I just kept waiting to see more and more information come out, and he's dead. And that's the end of that. And he's 24. Holy moly. Brutal. That said, on a happier note, 1 week from this Thursday is the draft, and I'm pumped about it. I love the draft, And we'll probably be, we think, we're going to go ahead and solidify that this week over at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill for the draft.
Yeah, I think we're going to nail that down once we're at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill for our banquet this Thursday. So back-to-back Thursdays at the CP. Post-tournament banquet this week, and then, of course, next week for the NFL draft, which always a fantastic event.
Well, it is, first of all, and we are in the midst of mock draft season, and, everything from sleeper picks to what your team is going to do and all those sorts of things. But I continue to pay close attention to the draft rankings for just a couple of guys. Florida State doesn't have much this particular time, but it does look like Azere still got an outside shot at getting drafted in the first round. At this point, depending on where you're looking, it is very late in the first or early second. He's going to do well for himself.
Yeah, the good news for him is no matter what the actual number is, because didn't Keon go first pick second round last year?
Yeah.
You're going to be a wealthy person, and you made the absolute right decision if you're Azaria Thomas. Just enter. Just go. Leave, enter the draft, understand the challenges before you in terms of the scouting, the pro days, the senior bowls, or whatever it's going to be. You have to do some work in order to achieve a better draft stock. But he knew he was going to interview well. He knew that his athletic numbers were going to be through the roof and NFL ready. So whether or not he called over to the draft folks and he got a grade or not, with your body type, you are going to be looked at and you're going to be drafted at a pretty good place as long as you just nail what you need to nail down. And he did. So good for him. No matter what the final position is, he's going to get top 50 money. Awesome for him.
I'm happy for him. I hope that's the case. By the way, it's been a really rough off season and for the New Orleans Saints, and they're in cap hell. But did you see the story that kind of quietly came out over the weekend about Carr?
I did. Might not be available at all. That was kind of strange. The language on that was weird.
Yeah. So Derek Carr, they think maybe done for this upcoming season. He was only under contract for one more year. The reason I bring any of this up isn't because Derek Carr is any good. It's because the Saints are screwed in a lot of ways, but this will affect this year's draft in a big way. They're drafting 9th. You almost assuredly have to go quarterback at this point. Will they choose to move up and grab the thought being Shedeur Sanders? Would he still be available at 9? Would they move up in front of anybody looking to bring in a quarterback like, say, the Giants?
I hope they do, because that further mortgages their future. It's not that I'm not a believer that Shedeur Sanders could be a good player. It's just so immediately you're going to go reach and give up assets to go reach.
Well, if they give up assets, I would be surprised. Look, Cam Ward is probably going number 1 to the Tennessee Titans. The Cleveland Browns will turn around and go Travis Hunter. I think if the Giants are smart, they're going to take Abdul Carter, and we're just moving on here. The Will Campbell kid seems like a no-brainer in the top 5 as well. I wish we could draft him. There's a lot. This is a great draft for defense. We talked about the Jacksonville Jaguars likely going after Mason Graham, the kid from Michigan who's a stud. So you can round out that group. I don't think that the Carolina Panthers, the New York Jets, although the Las Vegas Raiders, that's the biggest worry that they have, is that the Raiders would go after him. But they're said to want Ashton Genty, the running back out of Boise State. So, yeah.
Really? Okay.
Is that just lukewarm because you don't like drafting running backs?
Running back got nothing to do with Genty.
Yeah.
Nothing to do with him.
Player, yeah.
Like, at that spot on the board, come on, man. There's a lot of really good players.
Well, they need help everywhere.
And I know the running back is coming back.
Which I'm happy about.
That's a wonderful thing, but good Lord.
Well, so listen, if the Jets don't go, they signed Justin Fields. They made Justin Fields their guy, lest everybody forgets what happened there. Now, if I'm a Jets fan, I'm beside myself. What are we doing out here? We signed Justin Fields to be our starting quarterback. Really?
You're still around if you're a Jets fan?
It's
been a rough 20 years.
Jeez Louise. But because they did that and gave him what they did, they don't seem to be a guy going for quarterback. The Raiders did sign Geno Smith, who was also not any good, but they did sign him. And I don't think they'll go quarterback. They again, so now Carolina seems to think that they've righted the ship with
Bryce Young,
the little kid that plays quarterback there. And so now Shador falls to you at 9. You don't have to move up.
If you don't have to move up, I suppose you take the shot, but I don't know, man.
I'm not in love with the quarterbacks in this draft
I'm not
either.
in love
but
with their roster. They need a lot more help than just a quarterback.
But buddy, you can't even start the conversation without a quarterback.
Sure you can. It's a multi-year conversation. Kellen Moore knows that.
It's going to be interesting. I don't.
He wasn't brought in there for a 1-year flippity-do.
He has to know, yeah. By the way, Cowboy fans ought to get nervous. They're really in love with Amari and Hampton, the running back out of North Carolina. You going to draft a running back?
I mean, I like that player, but good Lord.
I mean,
what are we doing?
I would be furious. I'm like, no, we're not doing that. No, you can get running backs anywhere. 5th round. We don't need to do this.
Surely there's a front 7 player from Georgia available.
Yes, they're all good. Or an offensive lineman or something. I'm just, again, the Amanawari kid, that's who I want the Bucs to get at 19. By all accounts, he's probably going to be available there, buddy.
As long as we take a trench player or a defender, you can have it. I could be convinced for an offensive lineman if you really found one to be supernatural, but Jason Light usually gets those guys around like pick 90. This year in a deep defensive draft, if you're the Saints, take a defender, be terrible for a year, and go get you a better quarterback next year. Head coach is not on the hot seat. This is one of your chances to just make the roster better and lose some more football games so you get a better pick.
All right. Well, if the thought is that the Carolina Panthers will take Jalen Walker, I should say, the linebacker out of Georgia, so you can't go get him. You could get the offensive tackle from Missouri if he's still available.
Sounds good. Don't even know his name.
Yeah.
Nope. Does he have a first-round grade? Is he an offensive tackle?
He's a top 10 grade.
Sounds
yes.
good.
Yeah.
Top 10 grade? Yeah.
Now, if you're lucky, Mason Graham could fall if the Jags don't take him, and then maybe you grab him. But, yeah. Well, screw the Saints. I don't care. I mean, good. Go ahead and take Shador Sanders or somebody else that isn't going to impact your team. That's fine.
I would be the easiest GM or owner to work for. I'd be like, listen, I want a list of first-round grade offensive linemen.
Mm-hmm. Pick one of them.
Sorted by position. And then I want to know, if we're picking at 9, who's the best available of that group? Oh, what do you say? It's a tackle from Wisconsin? Fantastic.
Sounds good. Grab him.
Done.
Oh, you and I have gone down this road many years together now, and we have completely, I don't know about completely, but we've largely just accepted that quarterback's a crapshoot, that even the best of the best of the best of the best in the business screw this up 50+% of the time when they take a quarterback. Some are a little bit more obvious than others, like the Giants just steady doing stupid stuff at quarterback. But, like, okay, fine. I mean, most of the time you can recognize that. Like, that's not going to work. We shouldn't do that. But even then, like, even the ones you think are going to be really good, we'll see. So, because of that, we have come to the...
I would print shirts. Happy annual Trench Thursday. That is the first round of the NFL draft for my franchise. It's Trench Thursday, everybody. Social media, I look right into the phone, and I would say, it's Trench Thursday. Everybody get fired up.
I would, too. I would draft the Mimbu kid out of Missouri, the offensive tackle. Yes.
Sold.
Yeah. If I was an assistant to you or you were an assistant to me, we're so on the same page, one of us would walk in the room and go, all right, these 5 offensive linemen, 2 of them should be available by the time maybe 4 of them will be available by the time we draft. You okay with any of them? Yes.
Yeah. I would call the league office and say, can I turn on auto draft? Here's my queue of offensive linemen with first-round grades. Take the top available.
Yeah.
You don't even have to put the pick is in. Just walk up to the stage.
I would want the reputation to be such that people complained about how frequently we draft offensive and defensive line. I'd want our fans to be like, we're the most boring franchise of it all time. But yeah, but they'll run the ball because they've got offensive linemen. They are going to have some success there. They drafted 3 in a row.
You can get the sloth from Zootopia and meme it out.
Yeah.
He slaps down the pick.
Over and over and over again.
Luke Jackson, Kansas State. Center. Done.
The next year, which offensive, like the radio shows in your town, which offensive lineman are we drafting this year? And then, like, you call in, I'll tell you who. The highest rated remaining available offensive lineman on the board. So when you're watching on Thursday, guys, go ahead and check off the linemen as they go. The next highest rated one is the one we're taking.
I would have my fan zone be called the Trench. So you could have a watch party for the draft outside of our facility. It's called the Trench. That's where you get to watch it for Trench Thursday.
Yeah, if I had my druthers, if it was a situation where I had like 2 picks in the top 12, we see that situation. It happens quite a bit. I'd be like, all right, guys, we're going Mason Graham, and then we're going Armand Mimbu. We've got the offensive tackle and the defensive tackle. It's going to be a great day. And don't look now. Early in the second, we're going guard. We're going with a guard. Early in the second, mid to late third, we'll come back with a defensive end. And then we're going to come back with a center in round 4. That's right.
You tell our social media director, all right, make sure we branded hashtag Trench Thursday. And then
I actually love this, by the way. I think that would work. People would love it. It'd be uniquely theirs.
That's right. Well, and you would offer up a poll question. There's 2 choices. What are we drafting tonight? Offensive line, defensive line.
That's it.
Have your say. Hashtag Trench Thursday.
I like the idea. They would get so tired of it. Well, and then we're going to come back around and get a running back in the 5th round. That's right. We will. In the 5th or 6th round, we'll take a flyer on a running back who was very productive in the Mountain West.
Yeah.
I bet he steps right in behind this massive and ass-kicking offensive line I've drafted over the last 3 years and does a good job.
It's skill position Saturday. That's what that's for. We have Trench Thursday, and then we get into the skill positions later. Fast Friday, that's where we go for 40 times.
Well, I think when we're going by hit rates, and we talk about this all the time, you really cannot go wrong with OL. It's alarming how many times people miss at skill position players, and we're all guilty of it. I think you could be the most savvy, insightful, knowledgeable GM in the world and be a football guy. You played for 8 years in the NFL, 4 in college, 4 in high school. You know the game. You were a scout. You worked your way all the way to the highest levels, and somehow you will miss as often as my neighbor Dick when he drafts a quarterback on Thursday night from the bar.
How's he doing?
Dick? He's all right.
Yeah.
He really wants the Bucs to go wide receiver. But anyhow, the point would be...
Really? All right.
I don't listen to him. But the point, and neither did the Bucs, thankfully. But the whole thing is this. It would be boring, but it'd be successful. Look at the teams. You see it all the time. Like the Ravens, always a great draft. Forever take. Now, they don't always go offensive or defensive line. They do a lot.
If they pick a safety, it's just
it's going to be money. It's going to be money. I do wonder. Listen, I have a question to ask as we round out the hour. If you're a Steelers fan, and by the way, you're looking defense in the first round again. What are you like? Are you going into the quarterback? I mean, are you going into this season with Mason Rudolph as your starting quarterback?
Has Aaron Rodgers not picked them yet?
No.
Well, that's weird.
He's waiting to see what happens in the draft, and I mean, I don't know if he ever wants to play football again. I don't really care, but
well, he'll go back and forth on that for 6 consecutive weeks of interviews with McAfee.
I'm sure. But the bottom line is right now they don't have a quarterback in Pittsburgh other than sorry-ass Mason Rudolph, and he's terrible. I can't imagine.
They still need to go defense. Those playoff numbers, it's astounding. Their last 5 playoff games and what they've given up defensively in those. I get it. It's a quarterback league. I 100% understand it.
Well, that's why I think they should have done something along those lines to address it in the offseason.
They're stuck in the 9-8 cycle. They're Brad Childress Vikings.
Don't you now think about it this way? If you're a Steelers fan, all right, given where you're drafting, all right, the Steelers are drafting at 21. So you're kind of screwed. It sucks for you. You're just good enough not to draft high. So, okay, I'll tell you who's going to be there. Now, they'll probably go defensive line. That's from what I read this morning. That's what they want to do. But wouldn't you think it would be wiser to go Jackson Dart?
Ooh, I'm not sure about that one. That kid, the meltdown in the swamp scares the hell out of me. If I'm a professional team looking for a guy who is going to be thrust into a bad situation that has to elevate us, I don't like what I saw in that moment on the road. He turtled big time, and he was given another chance, and he turtled again. He was given another chance, and he threw another pick. Oh, my Lord.
I'm not saying that he's going to be the answer. I'm just talking merely from a standpoint of you don't have a starting quarterback at all. Mason Rudolph is ass sorry. So what are you going to do?
You got to take a shot with McCord, but you got to find the right spot to go draft him. It's too early. It's too early.
Sounds like the same thing they did when they drafted your boy out of Pitt.
Pickett.
Yeah, it's the same guy. It's the same guy.
Rudolph and Pickett.
Yeah, just a bunch of average-ass dudes.
Hey, McCord, he's got a little something to him.
I feel like I don't know. I feel like
they need defense. They can't stop giving up 6 yards of play in the postseason. They desperately need to stop people.
They haven't had good quarterback play in a long time.
Lord knows we'll get a lot of opinions at the draft party because I'm sure there'll be 50 Steelers fans in attendance.
It'll be great. It'll be great. But I'm telling you, man, it makes me laugh. By the way, as an aside, just so you know, Nick Scorton, yeah, the kid we could have had here in Tallahassee, the coaching staff screwed it all up, who then went over to Texas A&M. The Bucs are looking at him in the second.
Okay. All right.
There it is. But by the way, he was incredibly productive. We could have had him. We butchered it.
Trench Friday. I like it.
Final hour, fourth, come and stay with.
No matter how busy life gets, your home is the place where your family and friends show you they care and celebrate with you. That's why the professionals at Barano Heating and Air Conditioning always make sure your home is comfortable. Just like those who matter to you most, Barano will always be there for you.
This is Tyler from Barano Heating and Air. Now you can schedule an appointment, purchase or renew your service agreement, or pay your bill from your mobile device. Any day, anytime, anywhere. When you turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air. Online at baranoac.com.
Florida license number CAC 1816186.
The IRS is ramping up collection, and if you owe back taxes or have years of unfiled tax returns, listen carefully. Before it's too late, check your eligibility for the Fresh Start program still offered by the IRS to reduce or even eliminate your tax problems. Call our special hotline number now and find out in minutes if you qualify for these life-changing debt reduction programs. Business or personal, if you're in a payment plan with no end in sight, have unfiled tax returns, under audit, have a wage or bank levy, or finally just want to know your options, call the experts at Republic Tax Relief and stop collections immediately. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau with a 5-star rating from Yelp, this veteran-owned company has the fight you need to take on the IRS. Don't go at it alone. Call the hotline number now, 800-218-5573. That's 800-218-5573. Find out if you qualify today. Call 800-218-5573 or go to republictaxrelief.com.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
From the championship stage to coaching change and everything in between, Warchant.com remains your home for the best FSU football coverage in the business. Brutally honest columns and features, market-leading multimedia presence across video and podcast, the largest FSU fan community with a staff that combines for over 100 years of experience covering the Noles. When change comes, Warchant.com is your home for analysis from every angle. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source. Sign up today.
WVFT, Greater Tallahassee. This is Real Talk 93.3. More of the Jeff Cameron Show is coming up next. Your Sports Flash update on Real Talk 93.3 in Tallahassee.
College baseball, Florida State hosting South Florida on Tuesday. The Seminoles swept Virginia Tech over the weekend, winning Sunday 4-2. They're 28-7 and 11-4 in the ACC. Florida will host Stetson on Tuesday in Gainesville. The Gators have won 4 straight, sweeping Missouri, beating the Tigers in both games of a doubleheader on Saturday. Rory McIlroy won the Masters at Augusta National Sunday, beating Justin Rose in the playoff. He completes the career Grand Slam, becoming the 6th golfer to win all 4 major championships. Rose 11 under par. And the Orlando Magic will face the Atlanta Hawks on Tuesday in the play-in tournament. Winner will get the 7th seed and face Boston. Bundle auto and home, renters, or condo and save with Progressive. I'm Tony DeZeri, Real Talk 93.3.
Working as a dedicated Fidelity advisor, I always ask, what's important to you? I'll look at those priorities and goals alongside your full financial picture to build a comprehensive plan designed to help grow and protect your wealth. With proactive portfolio insights and an eye on taxes, I'm here to help you make the most of your money. I'm Laura Maxwell, and I'm a dedicated Fidelity advisor. Learn more at fidelity.com/wealth. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC, member NYSE, SIPC.
Progressive knows when you own a boat or RV, it's like you're automatically on vacation, even if you're actually a marriage counselor in the middle of couples therapy. But in your mind, you're camping in Acadia, puttering around Frenchman Bay. Your boat and RV are both protected. You're lobster drenched in butter and... Uh-oh, did your clients just notice you weren't listening? Quick, do the thing where you just repeat back exactly what they said, but as a question. They bought it. Now back to Maine, earning an automatic discount bundling your boat or RV with your home or auto. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Did you know indoor air is 5 times more contaminated than outdoor air? E&B Heating and Air Conditioning offers plasma air cleaning solutions for continuous air purification throughout your home, eliminating harmful pollutants. Contact E&B today so you can breathe better tomorrow.
Hey man, if you heard the sound, the Calvert Jewelry is the best in town. The rings, diamonds, earrings, bracelets, and more. And Calvert Jewelry, jewelry go.
When was the last time you randomly did something nice for someone that means a lot to you? Now, I say this every day at the end of my show for everybody to be a better person today than you were yesterday. Well, one way to do that is to drop into Pentalta and get a gift for someone who deserves it. It'll brighten their day, their week, maybe even their year. You don't have to wait for a holiday or special occasion, so don't wait to go check out a true local gem, serving Tallahassee since 1988. Now, sing along with me, and I'll see you at Pentalta.
These are enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Bar Construction.com. We conquer all peaks. We fix those darn leaks. Call 850-766-1340. T-Bar Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Bar Construction.com.
License number CCC 1331204.
Whatever you're driving right now, remember it doesn't cost much more to go first class because you can lease either of Infinity's popular luxury SUVs, the QX50 or the QX60, for around $600 a month with less due at signing than you might think. Only at Infinity of Tallahassee.
From Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Day, man, am I pumped. Tournament, JCS and my friends at Warchant, along with all of you that have signed up, we will get after it, benefiting the friends of ours, Second Harvest of the Big Bend, doing great things in this community and others. It's going to be so much fun. Thank you. Should be good again. But do we have ideal weather for it, Tom?
Yes.
I think so.
Right now, as long as things hold, when the first golf ball is in the air, it'll be 54 degrees on Thursday morning. By the time we make the turn, it will be 67 degrees. And by the time we finish our round, it'll be a balmy 76 degrees.
Oh, that's kind of perfect. Kind of perfect. Wednesday will be the giving show where you guys, if you're so inclined, and I hope that you are, can contribute and benefit the Second Harvest of the Big Bend. We love working with them. They're a joy to work with. And we're looking forward to helping out in any way we can. You guys can do so on Wednesday. Sounds like a plan. I waited to the third hour where a lot of times I pivot to more professional sports and some of those other things because some of you would not have it. Not that I care about that, but I thought it would be fair. We had FSU news. We had plenty of local sports to get into. But I did obviously want to certainly talk about what we witnessed yesterday, which was a roller coaster, the likes of which I've never seen. Holy moly, man. You know, I don't think it's all that it certainly it wasn't easy for Rory McIlroy, who had 35, joins Tiger Woods, Jack Nicklaus, Gary Player, Ben Hogan, Gene Sarazen, and winning the career Grand Slam. It is something to behold when you consider that, again, the Grand Slam, the career Grand Slam, has been obtained by one man in the last 50 years. That man, we all know, was Tiger Woods. Now, add to the list in the form of Rory McIlroy. Prodigious talent, and he has seen it through with a birdie on the first playoff hole against a great guy and class act in Justin Rose, who I now really do feel bad for, is a guy who's now lost twice in a playoff at Augusta National. That'll hurt your feelings. That's tough. And he's running out of time. He's 44. I mean, Justin Rose, we'll see. Augusta, you can compete deep into your 40s. We know that. But, man, I don't know. That was a toughie. Back to Rory, who, again, wins the tournament and completes the career Grand Slam. It puts him in the kind of rarefied air that means you are legendary henceforth. It's not really what this talking point was going to be about, though. It's more about what you witnessed, which was, again, an absurdity. It is very rare to see 3 or 4 of the worst shots from an accomplished golfer in the lead late in a round as you did here that you've ever seen in a golf tournament. Like the worst shots. Like, how did that even happen? How, like, that's not a shot that you see from average golfers, let alone elite, great, rarefied good golfers, right? And yet you saw 3 or 4 of those from Rory. You also saw, and this is what I say is very rare, 3 or 4 of the best shots you've ever seen in the final round with all that was on the line this go around, reminding you of said talent. I mean, it's pretty hard to imagine, Tom, but it's true, that Jimmy Walker has more recently won a major than Rory. Jimmy effing Walker. And so to have gathered 4 as quickly as he did early in his career, I think obviously meant that, well, assumptions can be made. This kind of talent, that kind of skill, obviously the mental wherewithal to collect 4 majors at such a young age, surely he'll cap it off, win the Masters. We've seen he's got the game for it, hits the ball sky high, something you need to be able to do at Augusta National. It'll happen. And then it didn't. Then not only didn't it, it became something larger than life. It transcended golf. Then it became the weight of not just not winning the Masters, but why haven't you won another major? When you collect them quickly, you see what can happen. The pressure shifts. And we live in an era that all of the ones prior to Tiger never had to deal with, and that is the era of the omnipresent camera and presence of social media and larger discussion about what you are or are not. He has been psychoanalyzed every which way to Sunday. at this point in his career. And so I feel like the burden of not having completed the career Grand Slam takes on a different realm than it did prior to, say, Tiger Woods, who is, a singular gift to the golf world. I mean, it's different. Nobody was asking Saracen about it. Nicklaus admitted nobody was asking him about it when he did it. He thought it was an afterthought. He said it repeatedly. He's like, I really, it was more about just wanting to win the Masters. He didn't even, he's like, it didn't come up. Well, first of all, there was no social media. There was no cell phone. Nobody was always talking about you in that way. Not that you could see. Yeah. And that's it. It brought on a different realm of pressure for a lot of these guys, not just Rory. Rory's finally got the monkey off his back, but for anybody, look, we haven't seen, look at a guy like Spieth. He's a PGA away from it.
Yes, and he's not even close.
Not even close, Tom.
And the thing about Rory is for so many of these years, these 11 years he's been hunting the Grand Slam, he's been a hell of a lot closer than Jordan is right now.
For most of those second place finishes, yeah.
But for most of those years, he's been in the hunt. He's been right there. Or he's done something silly, like fire an opening round 80, make his way out of a number, or backdoor a top 5 because he had one bad day, but then he was nails for the other 3.
Yeah.
And he's like, to me, if you're looking at him as a wide receiver in the annals of the NFL, he's Mike Evans because he can make the most brilliant thing happen and he can make the dumbest thing happen.
Yeah.
And he's all at once the same guy. He can make shots happen that Phil Mickelson has or Tiger has or the best of the best have. But then he'll do some stuff like I see over the weekend on an MGA.
Yeah.
At an MGA.
Well, you're like,
event.
what happened
That
there?
doesn't make any sense. But that's been his MO for a long time. Usually it's a flub chip around the green or a wedge into a green.
It's a wedge a lot of times.
But, I mean, over the course of his career, his low light reel is an all-timer. It's one of the worst low light reels you'll ever see from an accomplished golfer. And yesterday, for that period of 5 hours, you felt it with him that even though this is a man who's made hundreds of millions of dollars in his career, you're still, at least I am, I'm on the edge of my seat hoping for him that his destiny is not that of Greg Norman and it's that of somebody of much higher
character.
Well, yeah, wait, that's already done. That's already done. But esteem.
Yeah.
Because this is it. This is his moment where he's falling to his knees on the 15th green, but for him it was 13, and he wasn't looking at the scoreboard all day. That's the first time he looked at the leaderboard to see that, yep, you did poop this all away, Rory. And the look on his face on the back of 13 green mirrored that of Mike Norvell against Boston College. I'm telling you, it was the same expression. And people don't come back from that.
Typically, no. And that's what made it interesting because you got human drama here involved with all these statistical measures that we utilize to assess golfers, what they are, where they rank in the annals of the game. You had this emotion. And I commend Rory McIlroy, or any golfer for that matter, but in particular Rory McIlroy, for always telling us how he feels, telling us about what, obviously he's never made it a secret that he wanted this, desperately wanted this.
Yeah, and he's somebody that I've had a lot of fun with. I've been lighthearted about and chiding because it felt like he was never going to get over the hump. On Friday, oddly enough, I didn't think it was going to be this weekend. I said, well, once I saw that he's got that 3/4 shot that he can go to, it's a matter of time that he's going to win. I didn't know he'd break it out in the playoff this upcoming weekend after firing 66 on Friday and 66 again on Saturday, and that would end up ultimately being the clinching shot. But the thing that I appreciate so much about what Rory went through is you can tell he is fully understanding of the stakes in real time. He's not in denial mode. He's not in robot mode. He's not in suppression mode. That journey that he went on yesterday, he understood the gravity of everything he was doing in real time, which is so much harder to navigate home.
If you can find a way to avoid doing that. If you can find a way to block out what's at stake, if you can find a way to shut down your brain and only think of the next shot, the way that psychologists will tell you, like, well, you can't get caught up in the bigger picture of these things. You've got to do step by step what you've done a million times before. This is just a 7-iron from the fair. You've hit a million 7-irons. Just think about executing the shot. Yeah, sometimes it's easier for some people to do that than others. Most people cannot. It's really hard not to think about the magnitude of what's at stake there.
I thought he was going to either weep or vomit in the bushes at least 2 or 3 times yesterday because of the different moments. Like 1 and 2, is challenge number one, because a double on one is inexcusable from where he was.
Yeah, but then 3 and 4 is great.
Correct. But 2, a par feels like a bogey. He knows it on the tee ball. He's like, once he had his follow through, I'm like, it's going right. That's the bunker, dude. You just took 4 off the table. 4 becomes very difficult, and he makes par, which feels like a bogey. So he answers. And then he has a couple more moments where you're just going, oh, no, what's wrong with you? Then he hits the tee shot on 10 after birdieing 9, and it's not in the woods, and you go, you've done it.
Yeah, you got it.
Then
Yeah.
he gets lucky on 11, and you think, wow, the gods are with him today.
Yeah.
And 12 is fine. 13 is the most unfathomably stupid thing you'll ever see.
It's out of nowhere. It's 25 yards right of where he's looking.
It's an 80-yard shot.
But I'm saying it's 25 yards right of where he was looking. I don't even know how he did that.
Think about the percentage of the distance. I mean, it's a quarter. My God,
it's crazy to think about. Yeah, it is. It was stunning, and he looked to be in shock. The thing, look, if you listen to the announcers, if you listen to Dottie, if you listen to the players, if you listen to the people in the game of golf, now, unless you're a live guy, most of the people obviously wanted Rory to win. And the reason is because he has been a class act and is beloved by the people in the game of golf. And having done a SiriusXM PGA Tour golf show for 7 years, I can tell you I talked to people on and off the record forever about all of these guys. And he is largely beloved because he has been very professional and very straightforward and is so vulnerable. He is vulnerable. I think that's how people take shots, and it goes. What I like is that we want desperately for our athletes to care about whatever the accomplishment might be as much as we do. Like, we get so mad at watching athletes just kind of throw away their talent, not care, not give the effort, not seem to be invested, not love the game as much as we love the game. Now, sometimes that's unfair because we're looking at it from a standpoint of, if I only had your talent. But most people who are in a position to win the career Grand Slam are unbelievably talented and have been since they were 5. They were doing things with a golf club and a golf ball, or name your sport if you end up being an all-time great. I'm not saying you're born that way. You had to put in a lot of work, and that too often gets overlooked. A lot of people are gifted. They don't go on to win the career Grand Slam. A lot of people are gifted. They don't go on to play in the NBA for 12 years. A lot of people are gifted. They don't make the NFL. So there is a lot of work that has to be done. Hours upon hours upon hours of taking that expertise, that skill, that prodigious skill, and turning it into something that is unique, that is one of one, that is one of 50 people in the world that have ever, that kind of thing. So I don't like to take away credit. But once it's established that you can do certain things with your body and the way that you turn and the way that, his hips have always been famous. I mean, they've slowed that down. They've talked about how few people can do those things, right? Then it becomes incumbent upon you to get the most out of that. And what we want is for guys not to be jaded by that, but love the pursuit of it. And we want to go along for the ride, and we want to see those highest of highs and lowest of lows. Just show me you care and that you don't get jaded by the money or anything else or the fame, and that you can lock it in and get the most out of your talent. So when they do that and they show a lot of emotion afterwards, and I am that's the best thing you can hope for. That was a great day for golf yesterday.
And that's what the Masters brings out more than any other tournament. But, still, you go back and think about Tiger's wins, and my favorite ones are the ones where he's the most human about it.
Well, in 2019,
the passing of his father,
yeah.
The hardships in his life, some very much self-inflicted. The pile-on effect. I think we as humans don't want to see somebody piled on against. At some point, you turn it the people at Corner Pocket 8 years ago now, are all rooting for Sergio Garcia.
Of all people.
Come on now.
Yeah.
That's the effect of time and seeing somebody lose enough, or seeing
humbled.
It's the Rocky moment. The Russians are starting to root for Rocky. Everybody is in lockstep. Rory has always been more fan friendly than not, but yesterday they were in unison. Even though Bryson is a hot commodity and becoming a fan favorite in his own right.
Because of the fake-ass slapping 5 with all the people that he doesn't care about, but yes.
Yes, there's a lot of Phil there. And people fell in love with Phil until you realize that it was a shtick, a complete shtick. But people love the humanity of his first win in 2004. That's
me included.
Same here. I was ecstatic.
Oh, and he won. Yes.
And he won shortly after, and Amy was going through the battle with pants. I mean, come on now. Who doesn't love
it? Was awesome.
A great moment like that. That was yesterday. But this guy, to me, the reason that yesterday is so cool is, of the legends, I've only gotten to see a few in their prime, but of the legends, this is the most mortal. This is the most human of all the legends.
Yeah.
This guy is the most like the rest of us. Not just because he hits awful shots at times, but because his humanity is always there. There's weakness in him. And he overcame the weakness in him. That's so cool to see.
Yeah, obviously you and I never saw Gene Saracen or Ben Hogan. I didn't really see Gary Player at all. I saw Jack in 86. Now, I was in high school. You were born.
I watched a lot of those 70s Masters this year. I mean, he's a machine.
Yeah.
His persona wasn't as like Rory's is.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Jack was a one-of-one, right? Tiger, it's interesting. Tiger and Jack are more in the same boat than any two golfers ever.
Fierce machines.
Just great white sharks. Just like, and I don't say that because of Norman or anything like that, just like a predator. I mean, just loved it, right? Most people aren't that. Most people struggle and cannot find the laser-like focus it takes to transcend the game, the pressures of the moment, and the weight and magnitude of those shots that you have to hit in the most intense circumstances. So when you get a guy that's kind of like, he looks like he's going to throw up, I would feel like I was about to throw up. I relate to this. I don't know how I would hit this next shot with all that's on the line.
Yeah. So when Phil won his first major, there was a lot of that energy that day. And he makes the putt on 18. It's an overcast day into the evening. And you'd see the monkey come off his back. This is exponentially greater than that, even though the guy has 4 majors already and he's assured.
Now he's got 5.
That's one of the greats. And 2 players. Like, the dude's off the charts. There is something to be said about the era that we live in. And the second guessing, and then also the split, and he defends the PGA to the hilt, and then he gets
betrayed.
I mean, he walks out in front in order to be the PGA Superman, and there goes the knife.
Right? Yeah, the commissioner.
Right. So it's just, there's so much more for him to have gone through. And then, of course, he piles on himself by making inexcusable, inexplicable mistakes. He's capable of hitting a 7-iron from 205 around a tree to 9 feet. And then missing the putt by 2 feet left.
I'll tell you what I did like, and if Tiger Woods did it, everybody would celebrate him, but it didn't get mentioned yesterday when it came out. But you saw where basically he didn't say a single word to Bryson.
Yeah.
And Bryson was asked about it, and he said, yeah, no, he didn't talk to me not once during the entire round. Awesome. Cool. I wouldn't either. Screw you. Fake ass. But yeah, I thought that was great. And by the way, if Tiger did that, we'd all be like, see, he's a competitor. He knows it's winning time.
Correct. Yes.
That's how that would have been described.
I'm here to win a golf tournament.
Yes. That's right. All right. So really quickly, just so you know, 6 ties you. That's if Rory can win another major. He's got 5 now. He's won the career grands. Oh, it's going to happen. I think this opens the floodgates a little bit. But 6 ties you with Mickelson. It ties you with Trevino, and it ties you with the grossly underrated Nick Faldo, who has 6 majors. People forget that all the time. All right. Now, think about this for a second before I move on. Phil Mickelson, who did not win the career Grand Slam because of what? 6 times he finished second in the U.S. Open. 6 times, including famously throwing one off a tent.
Right.
I mean, it shows you how much the pressure can affect all of the greats. It doesn't matter. It is very rare that somebody can escape that. It becomes bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger over time.
I think that's where Rory, he's kind of a Phil Tiger hybrid in the way he plays. There are moments of pure dominance and get out of my way.
Oh, yeah.
And then there are moments of vomit everywhere. Phil has the better short game, but I mean, there's an element of that in Phil. But if he gets to 6, he's easily the best of any of those guys who have 6 majors. Easily.
Yeah, Trevino, Faldo, and
he set a scoring record for the U.S. Open, the thing that Phil doesn't have. So that's easy. Faldo has 3 Opens and 3 Masters. Awesome, but no. I mean, this and 2 players on top of it. Good Lord.
7 gets you to Arnie. 8 gets you to Watson, who won the British 5 times, I think.
Watson.
And 9 gets you to the grossly underrated Gary Player. I think people forget that Gary Player has 9 majors.
Which is interesting because he'll
remind you over and over and over again. But I would ask you, as we put a ribbon on that, where does it end? Where do you think he gets to? Do you think he gets to Player? Does he get to Watson? Does he pass Arnie, tie Arnie?
11.
11.
Mm-hmm.
Woo!
He's just getting started, man.
11's a lot.
I'm going to be Scott Van Pelt for a minute.
You are. 11's a lot. And we do play in an era in which Scotty Scheffler exists.
That's correct. Rory carded.
Ludwig Aberg exists.
Yes.
And he's on the come.
And Rory beat them all with 4 double bogeys.
I know.
4 double bogeys.
Agreed. But you would admit that Scheffler had his C game and finished in the top 8.
Rory carded 4 double bogeys. And I think he might have hit the 3 best shots and the 3 worst shots of the tournament.
That's what I'm saying. That's why it's so rare you see somebody well, first of all, in the same round of golf, let alone that whole tournament. He hit some of the best shots you'll ever see under immense pressure and some of the worst shots you will ever see from a golfer that accomplished. It's one thing for Ian Baker Finch to throw one off the planet.
Yeah.
Whatever, Ian. But, come on.
4 double bogeys. That's the margin of error for Rory McIlroy is defined now as 4 double bogeys is within the margin of error to win the Masters.
You think Craig Stadler's chuckling? He beat my record of 3 double bogeys.
No, there's a guy who was emotionally unstable. Dear God, Craig Stadler.
I don't knock guys for this. I'm just telling. Can you imagine? I mean, what that does for the rest of your life? As an exclusive, as a club, it's insane what that opens the door to.
Here we go. Liftoff.
Yeah, I would think there's zero pressure the rest of the way. I mean,
he keeps himself in such shape. He's going to 10, 12 more years, as long as there's a major injury in his life.
Well, I'll just say this. He's going to do one of 2 things. He's going to go on and win a bunch more, or he's going to fade into the sunset.
Oh, because he's mentally done for the day?
Well, he could just be done. I did it.
He doesn't want to play Champions Tour, so I think he's going to try and stretch this out for as long as he can.
Yeah, well, he doesn't have the injuries that Tiger self-inflicted many, many times over.
Yeah, are you saying he's not doing Marine boot camp?
Yeah, he's not doing Marine boot camp. I don't know what happened in that car that day. That was very weird. I don't think we ever got a straight answer on that.
What was going on this week? Why wasn't he there?
Oh, well, the Achilles, he just had surgery.
Okay.
No, I mean, he's not gonna let you see him hobbling around. You know better than that. He's not gonna be out here on his crutches. No,
he's more than happy to hobble after a 3-putt in cold weather.
he has to. He has no choice. His legs are shot, but I'm saying he's not gonna be on crutches for you to see. No, sir. He will not do it, Tom Lane.
I was hoping he would magically be there as Rory walked up
That would have been pretty damn cool.
So I got to tell you, I was mesmerized by this last night because the X feed updated, and so the video is there, but you don't have the audio on. That footage of him walking without the audio is almost more powerful than with the audio.
No, it was awesome. My wife was in tears. I was like, "Look at you! You don't even care." She's like, "That's just amazing."
It meant everything.
The Masters have given us a lot of cool moments. When Tiger did it in 2019, you and I are both like,
Yeah, I remember I was at CP and I got asked by one of the other bar people because they know I'm a huge Brooks guy. They're like, "So who are you rooting for?" Because Brooks could have won it.
Yeah.
I go, Tiger. And he's like, "That's the right answer."
We need to see this. America needs to see this one more time.
Well, yeah.
We knew it was our last time, too. We're like, this is it. This is it.
16 is still an unbelievable moment. But I have to tell you, 15 yesterday, as the ball's in the air.
Oh, man, I couldn't believe he hit that shot.
It's breathtaking. You're just like, please don't splash. You're in a movie. You're
and then
watching
it gets
a movie.
There, you're like, oh, my God, he did that. It's the Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV. When I get home,
I call Swain Pools and Spas. Now I'm so get up and run when I want to.
Truckloads of new and used Caldera and Hot Spring Spas are available now at Swain Pools and Spas. Don't wait. Get to Swain Pools and browse the best inventory to find the spa of your dreams. These won't last long, so come see us today. Just look for the huge sign on Tharp Street or call 386-7113 for Swain Pools and Spas.
I know what you're thinking right now. Where can I find a place to get my car fixed and also check out some awesome new hot tubs and spas while I wait? Well, you're in luck. Because when you bring your car or truck in to get serviced at Tallahassee Car Care, it's under the same roof as Swain Pools and Spas for tires, brakes, batteries, tune-ups, oil changes, and all the service you need to get back on the road. Choose the certified technicians at Tallahassee Car Care. Drop by our shop on Tharp Street or visit online at TallahasseeCarCare.com.
Hey, did you see the new portable building from Southeast Portable Buildings? It's like a mansion, but you can move it.
Oh, come on, man. A mansion is probably just big enough for your collection of the world's smallest spoons.
You think I'm kidding? This thing has more space than my in-laws' house during the holidays. And I can finally hide from them in style.
Well, I guess if you need a place to escape or maybe to store your emergency cheese stash, Southeast Portable Buildings has you covered.
Exactly. They've got models for every taste, from classic to modern. Plus, they're built to last longer than my New Year's resolutions.
Well, speaking of resolutions, I resolved to get one of those buildings for my backyard barbecue empire. Imagine the grilling space.
So Tallahassee, don't wait. Get your own slice of portable paradise at Southeast Portable Buildings.
Yeah, give them a call today, 850-580-6400. That's 850-580-6400 or online at southeastportablebuildings.com.
Because sometimes you just need to escape, even if it's just to the backyard.
This announcement is brought to you by Fonville Lewis Messer McConaughey.
If you're driving right now, you should know there's an 80% chance that the cars all around you don't carry any bodily injury insurance. Most people don't realize it, but in Florida, all the law requires is that drivers carry property damage insurance. This means that the texting teen drifting over into your lane or the drag racer on your rear bumper have no way of compensating you or your loved ones when they cause a crash. And this should scare the hell out of you. Fortunately, there's an easy way to protect your family from this, and it's called uninsured motorist coverage. It's an absolute must, but a lot of insurance companies are convincing folks to drop it just to save a few dollars. Take it from the personal injury experts. Don't. At Fonville Lewis Messer McConaughey, we've recovered millions of dollars in uninsured motorist coverage in crashes where our clients would have otherwise received nothing. So please, call your agent right now and make sure you have uninsured motorist coverage on your policy. We hope you'll never need it, but we'll be here for you if you ever do. Fonville Lewis Messer McConaughey. Don't settle for less.
No two people learn the exact same way. So how did Babbel become the award-winning language learning app? We thought of you, all of you. Take Sierra. As a visual learner, she uses Babbel's wordplay videos.
Today I'll share a quick lesson on shopping for French.
Merci beaucoup. Keith is a be in the room with real people kind of learner. So he loves the live online classes with our language experts.
Okay, class. Vos está pronto. Estamos prontos.
However you learn, Babbel makes it easy. Try Babbel for free at babbel.com, BABBEL.com.
I've always gotten tons of UTIs. Cranberry products never worked for me, and I was desperate for a way to be proactive. I'm Jenna Ryan, CEO and founder of Eucora. We've worked with doctors to develop effective urinary tract health products. Eucora is helping over 100,000 women stay healthy. Ready to join them? Get 30% off at eucora.com/radio. That's UQORA.com/radio.
These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
You know, I've got to admit, I'm excited. Tom, we know we have a Paloma station.
Yeah. Yes, make sure to have a nice breakfast. There'll be some light eats available before we start. Our pals at Metro Deli are helping out as well with sandwiches and the coolers around the course, I should say. I believe Gordo's is providing a little bit of food as well, but make sure you eat. There's a lot of good stuff.
But that Calafino tasting with the tequila, buddy, I'm excited about this. Tried and True Consulting is the one that stepped up big for that. And Paloma's on the course. That's a first this year.
Yes. So there's Palomas. There's Terry's Twisters. There's going to be some Tavello. Gordo Smashes. Yeah, man. There's a lot of fun to be had.
Careful.
The Tried and True station is going to be on 16, the long par 3 on the back, and that is where the closest to the pin is 300 bones to Callaway.
Yeah, Don's quite a player, too. I think. Are you going to hit against Don?
There's a Beat the Don challenge.
Hey,
yes. Beat the Don. And if you do, you're entered to win an additional, because many people might, or maybe one person will, or maybe nobody. But it's $100 to Panera Bread restaurants. $100 gift card. If you beat him, you get into the raffle. So, yes, a lot of cool stuff.
I just now returned to the chat just to see what folks were talking about here and getting caught up in the wake of our golf conversation. Did not realize everybody was as big a fan as I am. And I am. It's one of the more old man crusty takes that I have on a pretty consistent basis. Just ask my kids regarding the no phones thing is a beautiful thing. It's just a beautiful thing. It forces people to be involved, to share things with one another, to have conversations, to observe and not quickly glance over, but rather watch what you're there to see. It's an awesome thing. I'm glad they continue to do that. It's wonderful.
It also set up something that I think they went back to the well a little too often on it, but the camera shot of the crowds reacting to the scoreboard,
which is really cool.
It's really cool. Like, they didn't need to do it 9 times; they could have done like 7. But that's a really cool thing, because you realize how loud the roars are just for score updates, and on a day like yesterday where there's a clear sentimental favorite that everybody's rooting for.
Yeah, and I would also tell you that I was really impressed with the 10 or so guys that, for whatever reason, went over to the driving range to watch Justin Rose hit shots to warm up and stay ready for the playoff. What are we doing here, guys? We're in the middle of high drama right over here at 17 and 18, but you're going to go watch Justin Rose warm up on the range? Hey, I've been to that driving range. It's something to behold. It's not the tournament. It's a driving range. You're watching one dude hit? What are we doing?
Man, that putty hit on 18. I was all at once, good on you and screw you eternally, because I didn't think Rory was going to get to 11 again. I didn't think that, I didn't think he was going to get to 12. I thought he was more likely to bogey and lose in regulation than he was to win in regulation. Then he did get to 12, and he still bogeyed the 18th anyway. And then the shot he took on in, I want to say overtime, but in the playoff, that nobody takes dead aim at the pin.
Oh, you mean Rose? Yeah.
Yeah, they take aim at the hill.
He about jarred it. He got a little unlucky. Like, I thought that would come up and come back down a little bit, but
it landed about, less than a foot short of the pin, maybe a little more than a foot short of the pin. Oh, my Lord.
You know what I found interesting, and I don't know how anybody does this. Again, the same guy that somehow hit a ball 30 yards right of where he was looking is the guy that flushed 2 perfect shots in the playoff, meaning Rory. And it should be noted, back-to-back perfect drives on 18 under immense pressure.
Yeah, when he took the driver out, didn't you? I mean, what are you doing? You've been laying back with 3-wood in a couple key circumstances.
Flushed it both times.
That's evil.
I mean, flushed it.
Yep.
I mean, so how is that in you to do that under immense pressure? By the way, he said post-round, when I got to my ball, I was maybe 2 yards back of where I was on 18 in regulation.
Yeah, right.
So I knew exactly what I was going to hit, and I knew exactly where it would go. And I just told myself, all you got to do is execute this wedge. It's going to be right by the hole. Hey, man, what did you say to yourself when you were 86 yards away? What are we doing?
Or how about a half an hour ago when you were 2 yards different? A half an hour ago, that would have been very useful, because everybody knows the drill. If you get on the green, this is over.
Yes.
It's a large green. There is a bunker off to the right.
Yeah, let's not go in that.
This is a large green. Oh, my Lord.
But I just think it's interesting, like this idea that he said the thing to himself in extra holes that what he couldn't say previous just an hour earlier. I mean, that is really interesting to me, how the human brain works. How, that I would have been, I don't know. I would have been on the verge of puking every second of all of the day. He admitted afterwards, he said, when I came to number 1, I've never been more nervous in my life. I was so nervous off of number 1, and it showed, by the way. I was so nervous off of number 1 that my hands were shaking, and I have never been that nervous ever in my life in golf. Now, you think about all the big rounds he's played. He's won 4 previous majors. Now, you think about that. You think about the junior tournaments where he was the up-and-coming prodigy and all the pressure in the world on him to win those things. And he's traveled all over the world and winning those things against the best there is. And this was the most nervous he's ever been, which I understand. But it's number 1. It's not number 9. It's not number 15. It's number 1. It's the first hole of the day here. Let's ease into the round. But I thought this was fascinating. He talked about the miles per hour that he had in warm-ups before the Saturday round. The Saturday round, he said he knew he was going to fly that bunker without any problem. And he did, by the way. Right off the bat, both of them. The Sunday round, he said he knew something was wrong and that he must just be nervous and not releasing the club all the way because he was 3 miles per hour down in his range session. Now, first of all, that's awesome that we've come that far. I mean, in 1972, tell that to somebody like Johnny Miller. What are you talking about? You're like, nobody, So the idea that he's hitting on the range and he can see something's not right. He feels the same. He said, I felt the same in warm-ups. It's warm-ups. We all warm up. It's no big deal. You don't get nervous in warm-ups very often. He's like, but I'm warming up on the range and I'm seeing my TrackMan numbers and they're down 3 to 4 miles per hour. Well, it turns out to be the very thing that cost you twice by 1 yard.
Yeah.
Man, that's nuts.
Yes, on number one, 100%, you can have that line and it costs you. Number two, you have to work hard to hit that bunker with his distance. That one was tough. I thought in that moment, you're not fighting. You're laying down. This is
don't do that.
What are you doing? This is gonna, like, the penultimate group is gonna win, or Bryson's gonna win. Like, you're dead and buried. But he wasn't. That's why that. Usually the drama is reserved for one shot on 15 and it goes in the drink, or one shot on 16 and, it just doesn't catch the hill properly, or it does. That started out the gates with a knockout blow, and he got off the mat. It's a first round. He's down and he's hurt, and the ref is not sure whether or not to stop the fight.
And he's like, I got this. It's all right.
Oh, my God. And then he got knocked down again at 13.
And there's this. I'll be all right.
Stop the fight.
He's like, Nope, I'm all right.
And at 15, he knocks somebody else's ass down. At 17,
here we go.
And then 18, he's knocked down again.
That was a weird one.
He wasn't making that putt.
No.
If you're outside of 3 feet on 18, this is another reason I'm so glad to watch all those Masters, to watch Ed Snead miss and Hubert Green miss, and all these guys miss these putts. But he ain't making that. Nobody does. You have to make it from Rosie territory where you just have to throw caution.
You're just hoping that, it's a lag putt that goes in.
That was going to be 10 feet by.
Yeah.
There's no rest for the weary. And Rosie was unbelievable yesterday.
Well, we talked before the tournament started. I talked about my one moment with a conversation that I had with Justin Rose. And I even said, this isn't a name drop. It just happens to be true. He's one of the nicest guys ever. And so I hate it for him that this has happened to him twice now. I mean, I wanted Rory to win, and I'm glad we got to see it. I love history. Watching somebody win the career Grand Slams, and now having seen 2 people do it, it's crazy. I mean, if I never see it again, and I probably won't, that's fine. I got to see 2. We went 50 years without anybody doing it, and then Tiger did it, and now Rory's done it. I don't feel like Spieth's ever going to win the PGA. Maybe he will.
Maybe.
Scotty
could, but he needs to win 3 different majors.
Well, he only has he's got the 2 Masters championships. I say only, but I mean, he's got 2 of the same. So it is, again, you and I were talking off the air. It's like, don't become Rafael Nadal. Thanks for your 15 French Opens there, buddy. Seems you're a one-course Jesse.
He's definitely not.
No, of course he's not. Of course. But I'm going to start calling him that. What, one-course Jesse? He ain't going to win this week?
Is it Sawgrass?
Yeah.
Is it Augusta? Well, then he ain't winning. I'll give you Eastlake. That's about it.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Jeff Garrett Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
Lori Page, who has been missing since June of 2023, was found dead last week, and her father has been arrested in connection to her death. TBD made the announcement Friday just after 4 p.m. during a press conference. Police said the Griffin Middle School student's remains were found at the Merrily Plantation in Thomas County on April 5th. Page's 36-year-old father, Andrew Wiley, faces a second-degree murder charge in connection to her death. Police Chief Lawrence Norvell announced during the press conference. Norvell did not say when or where Page's father was arrested. Before the discovery of Page's remains, the middle schooler was last seen in the Continental Court neighborhood in Tallahassee on June 2023. Her father reported her missing, claiming she left home with her backpack sometime overnight while he was at work. Eventually, police said they began to uncover inconsistencies in Wiley's original story. Wiley has been booked into the Leon County Jail. This is Rachel Anay with Real Talk 93.3 Local News Update, brought to you by McNamore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at McNamoreSystems.com.
Now, here's your Paul's Termite and Pest Control Tallahassee weather report.
Plenty of sunshine ahead this week and warmer temperatures by the end of the week and through the weekend as mid to upper 80s are possible. Tonight, mostly clear, low of 55. Tuesday, mostly sunny and breezy, slight chance of a shower, high of 84, low of 50. Wednesday, sunny with a high of 77. More sunshine on Thursday with a high of 83. From Real Talk 93.3, this is Danielle Kelly.
for the elimination of termites, pests, and for a greener lawn too. Call Paul's. They'll get them all.
Siri, tell me a joke. The first song I tried to write was about a tortilla, but it turned into a rap.
All jokes aside, the trained professionals at Mac & More Systems are serious about Apple products. For all your Mac repairs, call Mac & More Systems at 894-3622. 894-3622.
Let's be honest, we all have way too much stuff. Maybe your storage closet is full, your garage is full, or the guest bedroom is a mess. Call Southeast Portable Buildings, 580-6400, or visit them online at southeastportablebuildings.com.
One of life's greatest mysteries has finally been solved.
Who let the dogs out?
It's Spruce, the new hardworking, worry-free weed and grass killer that's safe for use around people and pets. When used as directed, spray the leaves for visible results in just 1 hour and dead weeds in just 1 day. You spray, they play. Weeds die by the next day. Find Spruce wherever weed killers are sold.
Morning, Paula.
Morning, Ron.
Another day in Adminville, am I right?
What are you working on? Oh,
You okay?
your tabs. You have so many open.
Yeah, gotta order lunch for the big client meeting. With great responsibility comes tabs.
I can help. Close all those tabs and open just one. EasyCater.com. Online ordering from local restaurants, plus tools to save time, stay on budget, track expenses.
One tab to rule them all.
EasyCater, the smarter way to order food for work. Order now at EasyCater.com.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
It's going to be a long year in Pittsburgh, buddy. Long year. We're terrible. We can't hit a lick.
It's not about strength of schedule or anything like that?
No, we just suck. It's tough to come to that conclusion so early in the year. But I have. And it ain't good, buddy. 5-11. Well, 5-11 start.
It's not what we need.
Got the sorry-ass Nats tonight. I mean, this is in Pittsburgh. They're 6-9. Let's go. Let's get it together here, guys. Makes me mad. Makes me mad. Let's do probables.
You'd be in fourth place in the East.
Well, your Mets are in first place is where they are.
Yeah, that is strength of schedule, I think, a little bit. It's a very favorable start to the season.
I also think you're a pretty good team. Let's do probables. Cue it up.
It's time for, how you say, with the pitching, probables?
I love to let that ride a little bit. Happy Skeens Day, everybody. Happy Skeens Day. Come on, Paul. We need you right here, right now. Brad Lord starts for the Nats. The Paul Skeens starts for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Giants, Phillies, Landon Routt. Tuan Walker. Royals, Yankees. That'll be Seth Lugo. Carlos Carrasco. Hey, it turns out that the, what are they? Torpedo bats? Yeah. Don't really seem to matter. The Yankees are 8-7, kind of average.
Yeah, San Francisco had a good weekend.
San Francisco is not fooling around. 11-4, actually.
Buster Posey.
The West out there doing some things. Red Sox, Rays, Tanner Houck, Shane Baz. Braves, Blue Jays. Braves fans, I think, have more heart in the sense that they know they have a team that can play. They have a worse record than the Pittsburgh Pirates. They're 4-11.
You just got to get it together.
Yeah.
You're not panicking. You just got to get it together.
There's nothing to get together for the Pirates. It's just who they are. Grant Holmes goes for the Braves. The Blue Jays will throw Easton Lucas. Tigers, Brewers, Tariq Skubal. He's good at pitching. Tyler Alexander goes for the Brewers. We got the Mets and the Twins. By the way, Twins fans, I have never seen it. Nobody at the ballpark over the weekend. 13,000 people on a Saturday. They hate their owner.
Well, they know that TV situation's only going to put them in a bigger hole.
They got problems in Minnesota. They got problems. They're 5-11. Clay Holmes goes for the Mets. Joe Ryan goes for the Twins. We got the Stros and the Cardinals. Rumber Valdez. He spun a gem against Tom's Mets to start the year, but since then, the Astros haven't done much.
We're light hitting anyway. A little bit.
Cardinals will throw Sonny Gray. Cubs Padres, Jamison Tyon, Dylan Cease. Rockies Dodgers, Antonio Cincinnati and Dustin May. He of the free-flowing Red Locks May family. And that is a look at those that shall reside on the bump. Timing was good.
Not bad.
I waited on it. There it is. That was a fun one. Seems nice and easy. The evenings are going to be easy this week, guys. You roll on out there to that front of that backyard on that deck. Get you a cold one, read a book. That slight breeze hit you. It's going to be a good week.
2-1 to Ramirez.
Right.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it's got to be.
Yep. That one's fouled back straight away. 2-2.
Hun. There it is. That's your evening.
Time for your fifth inning recap brought to you by Moe's Ice Cream. Remember.
It's a fun conversation. That's all it should be. Just a casual, fun conversation centered around baseball.
It has sped up, though. You have to storytell much faster because of the pitch clock. So the radio guys have had to adjust.
That's good. They were showing Jack from 75. That's why they put the pin where they did this.
Now they can go back to where it belongs.
Yeah. But did you see when they did that? It was Vin Scully that was doing the.
I'm telling you, yeah.
Vin doing the play-by-play for the Masters was beautiful to listen to.
They had a guy on 17 who I've never heard of, and he was young, so I don't know if he died or if he ran into.
Goodness
I don't know.
gracious.
He had that voice. He would have been the heir apparent.
Well, what happened to
But
this
ended up
guy?
being Musburger instead. But that guy's voice that was on 17 in the 70s and early 80s. Oh my Lord, unbelievable! It's like Ben Ingram with the Braves Radio Network,
who's really good. Should be noted today. Didn't want to miss it and not bring it up because he's been a wonderful player for a long time. But cornerback Patrick Peterson is retired from the NFL, announcing today he is done. 34 years old, honored at the team's practice facility today. Highlight video, several teammates, including Larry Fitzgerald, came back, and quarterback Carson Palmer did as well, to say, hey, man, what a career it was. He spent 10 of his 13 seasons with the Cardinals, leaving after the 2020 season for the Vikings after 2 seasons of purple and gold. Played for the Pittsburgh Steelers in 2023, but did not play in 2024. And he said, that's it. I got to go. I'm done. I'm broken down. 8 Pro Bowls from his rookie year in 2011 through 2018, and a 3-team. This is more impressive. A 3-time first-team All-Pro. That's the one that really stands out.
There's nowhere to hide at that position, especially at the NFL level. So if you are able to do that with that level of consistency, you are as badass as they come.
I also forgot he returned punts for a time in his career. 195 punt returns for nearly 2,000 yards, 4 touchdowns. Okay. It's all doing some things.
Canton is calling him very soon.
Yeah, he'll definitely be in, but one of the greats has called it a day. So that's I like watching him play. It's funny how guys can kind of come and go rather quietly, and then when they announce that moment, you go, you've been a badass. Thanks for making my life better watching Sunday on the ticket, flipping around, just seeing you make plays for the better part of 11 seasons. That's doing some things.
If I could give you the option of Rory plus a non-Scotty Scheffler partner versus the field at Quail Hollow, and you get to pick outright winner.
But I don't get to pick.
It's not Scotty. It's Rory and anybody else but Scotty, or the field.
Well,
what would you do?
I mean, look, you're going to take the field. The odds are better for you to take the field.
The level of hesitancy in your voice would have told, and there was no hesitancy there.
Right.
I was looking for if you could give me Xander, if you could give me.
Well, but I haven't started scouting Quail Hollow yet. I mean, we know that's Rory's course. He owns it, and he'll be the prohibitive favorite. But even then, it's minus money to win. So we know that. Yeah. I haven't started studying just yet the rest of that field. I will for the week. I did win a lot of money on Justin Rose to be the leader after Thursday. That was a pizza money bet that cashed, and it was a glorious moment for yours truly.
Well, we heavily recommended that you bet him live top 5 heading into Friday's action. And we were correct on that.
We did. RBC Heritage, the model predicts Scheffler to win this week with Morikawa second. Of course, it doesn't always play out that way. Ludwig is in this tournament. So is Corey Connors, the Canadian great.
Yeah.
He had a rough Sunday, but he was right there. And Ludwig on 18. Damn it, Ludwig. Get it together.
Well, I'm wondering what Corey Connors' strokes gained putting number was on Saturday, because if it was anything decent, he probably would have been in the final pairing. That dude was all over on Saturday.
He is, Corey Connors had a good resurgence, if you will. Corey Connors people think he's young. He's 33. But now he's consistent. Now he's consistent. So, if you're looking at the data golf rankings currently, Scheffler is still slightly ahead of Rory McIlroy for all players. But that takes into account a lot of different things. And Rory is number one with a bullet in a lot of areas now. Yeah. He will be the number one player in the world, of course. He is number one on the points list, too.
4 doubles, and he beat Scotty by 4 for the week.
Scotty just looked disengaged and disinterested. I don't know what is going on there. That was a strange deal. Good work out of you. Thanks, everybody. Enjoyable as always. We'll be back with you tomorrow with Seminole Headlines plus the bonus hour. Have a great rest of your day into the evening. Until tomorrow, peace.